What's going on, all you movie lover badasses out there? Phat Samurai Guy is here with Lady Phat Blood and Phat Ninja. Welcome to Verbal Nectar, Ep.2. Verbal Nectar, the ridiculous name for a ridiculous podcast. That's right. And before we get started talking about a lot of Marvel films and Marvel TV shows and trailers, we have to give a shout out to our newest sponsor, Peachtree's Apartments. Looking for affordable apartments out there, living next to 1,000 of your closest friends, we highly recommend Peachtree's Apartments located in Megacity 1.
Peachtree's Apartments are not responsible for Mama gang activity, slow-motion psychedelic hallucinations, and unexpected building lockdowns.
All right, today in the podcast, we are going to talk about Avengers Infinity War. That's right. I know a lot of you out there was hoping that we would review it, but we just never had time. We apologize. We're so sorry about it. But today, we can at least talk about our thoughts, what we liked, what we didn't like. And we're also going to talk about Deadpool 2. We're going to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. We're going to talk about some of the Marvel Netflix shows and its future with Disney. Boo! And probably going to talk about some trailers as well. First up, though.
Oh, and full spoiler alert for anyone who has not seen these. You should probably go see them because we will spoil the hell out of them.
Yes. And before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone that this is a franchise. I'm going to say it a billion times. I'm sure you guys are going to get tired of me saying it. This is a franchise. Okay? This is a series of films that follows each other. This is a franchise, okay? Lord of the Rings, franchise movie series.
Star
Wars, franchise movie series. Harry Potter, franchise, okay? Lethal Weapon, franchise, okay? Franchise, all right? Jurassic Park. So don't be jumping in to Avengers Infinity War going, I don't know, okay? Why should I be forced to watch over 10 years of movie? It's a franchise, okay? If you're curious about getting into Star Wars, are you gonna jump into fucking Empire Strikes Back first? All right? Are you gonna jump into one of the Ewok movies? Are you gonna do that?
Holiday special.
Are you gonna watch Lord of the Rings but start with Return of the King first? No. Are you gonna start with Harry Potter movie number 5? No. All right? Game of Thrones. Are you going to start with season 3? No. Okay? So, again, I'd like to reiterate, this is a franchise, you guys, okay? We have been with this franchise, all three of us, since day one, since the very first Iron Man film has come out, and we have enjoyed it, and we have been there through the good and the bad, because not everything Marvel does is perfect now.
No.
There's some flaws in their movies, okay?
Yep.
Their movies have been accused for being very formulaic.
Which is true.
And that's true. But not necessarily having the greatest villains.
Yeah, in a lot of the cases their formula tends to work, but sometimes it'll backfire. And sometimes when they've strayed a bit from the formula,
right.
Sometimes at first they didn't have the greatest formula in place.
Yeah.
It took them a while to get their bearings. They're not, they're not perfect.
No, they had to find their footing.
It took them a while.
There was no guarantee that first Avengers movie was going to be good or entertaining or a hit.
But they were the first to try a full cinematic universe.
Yes.
And the only, so far, to really have succeeded.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to agree.
Sorry, Dark Universe.
But don't get it twisted, DC fans. We love us some DC movies. All right? We love the Dark Knight trilogy. We love the Tim Burton Batman films. I love the first 2 Christopher Reeve Superman movies. And Man of Steel was entertaining for what it was. We enjoyed Wonder Woman as well, and we are looking forward to the new Aquaman movie.
I have a very, 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 very deep, dark, soft spot for BVS.
Yeah, BVS director's cut, right?
I do not make any excuses for it. I think it's overblown. I think it's way too up its own ass for its own good.
Yeah.
But there is a lot to BVS that I really ended up enjoying for what it was. And I lament the fact that Justice League did not get the full Zack Snyder treatment to at least fit in with the Snyderverse.
Right.
And I think
Justice
League suffered greatly tonally for that.
Yes.
And I wish we could have had a Snyder cut full on everything with editing his scenes and the music that was originally going to be scored with it.
Yeah.
But aside from that,
yeah,
that's what that is.
That's what that is. So
we love Wonder Woman was a nice little pleasant surprise.
Yeah. If you haven't seen our review for Wonder Woman, please check that out. But we were very, very entertained by it. And Aquaman is just looking like a lot of fun. The trailers look entertaining.
Yeah, and I don't give a shit about Aquaman. But this film, it's got me intrigued. I mean, the preview so far.
So we are not the Marvel fanboys.
But everyone seems to think we are.
All right. Image Comics, DC Comics, we like it all.
We just like quality.
Yes. We like quality.
We like effort. We like people that, give a shit about what they're doing. And, it's a studio-run business with the MCU, but a lot of the directors that they've chosen give a shit about what they're doing. Even if it's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, like you always say, we appreciate effort.
Yeah.
So, speaking of effort, holy shit, Avengers Infinity War did not disappoint. I was amazed. I was blown away. It exceeded our expectations. And our expectations wasn't necessarily too high, but we were ridiculously excited with those first couple of trailers. But we had a good feeling that the movie was going to come out good because of the Russo brothers, which we have been fans of ever since Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War.
Yeah.
And thank God for the Russo brothers, because I don't think Joss Whedon or any other director would have done Avengers Infinity War the right way.
Maybe could not have pulled it off as well. And I'll just jump into what some of the things I was initially concerned with, and what I was proven wrong, happily wrong on. I didn't know how well, because when Winter Soldier came out, and the Russos obviously came out with that, it was a revelation for me.
It changed the game.
Especially because as much as I enjoyed the first Captain America, and it's still a solid origin story. Like, you can go back and watch that, and it's a lot of fun, and it's got some heart to it too. And but when Winter Soldier came out, I was like, holy shit, we just put on the big boy pants. And when obviously Age of Ultron came out, and it was kind of a disappointment. I mean, it was entertaining, but you could see the cracks in the studio interference and all that. And then when Civil War came out, it was almost like, okay, well, let's kind of do an Avengers 2.0 here, like 2.1.
Which it kind of was,
That's what it felt like to me. And it was like, okay, so now we got the Russos doing their own thing with Winter Soldier, but now they've proven that they can do kind of this two thing, they can do their style mixed with a little bit of the Avengers going on in there. So it was a natural choice for them to do Avengers, but I was concerned initially about how would that work with everybody.
Right.
I feel like Avengers as a whole, because it is this multi-franchise in and of itself, everybody's got different tones.
Yeah.
You've got the Guardians having their own tone. You've got Doctor Strange having his own thing. Everybody's got
Asgard, Thor.
Yes, everybody has their own feel to it. And I didn't know how that was going to mix in together. I was also concerned about the score, which I was insanely proven wrong with. I'm a big fan of Alan Silvestri. He's been around since the 80s, as far as I know.
Predator!
Yeah, Back to the Future, he did the first Avengers film, he did the first Captain America film. He's a great composer. But I didn't know, because I was so used to the Russos doing their scores with Henry Jackman, whom I really enjoyed, especially with Winter Soldier. I didn't know how that was going to mix together, because now you've got this director who have their own tone of doing things, mixed with this composer who has his own way of doing things, and I was afraid it was going to be kind of like a Joss Whedon, Danny Elfman thing, where it just did not mix.
Right.
So I was kind of worried, like, okay, is this going to work? Alan Silvestri blew my fucking mind with this score. Like, I mean, just him bringing back his themes, bringing the emotional weight with Thanos, and especially with Thanos and Gamora, the emotional weight towards the end, where, spoilers, half of the crew dies.
And it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And speaking of scores real quickly, that's been another huge criticism of the MCU, is that no one really has a recognizable theme.
It's true, and when they do get a theme, it disappears by the next film because either you change composers or they're not consistent with it. And I think the Avengers so far, as a film, has been the only solid recognizable theme. I know that in Thor 3, they took a slight theme that they had brought in with the first film and a slight piece of music from the second film, and they threw that into the third film, which was nice to hear. But you've actually had characters in certain films, like the Winter Soldier, he had his own theme in the Winter Soldier, and they brought it in a little bit in Civil War. Nowhere to be heard in this one, but it's okay because tonally it wouldn't have made much sense. You know, he's not that character in this film anymore.
Right.
But like Vision, he was given a theme in Age of Ultron. You never hear it again. You never hear his song again. A lot of people, Cap kind of always had his own little quirky theme, but then by Winter Soldier, he was beginning to become a different character. So he had a different theme in Winter Soldier. And Civil War, he's evolved past the soldier, you know, I'm going to do what my country tells me to do. And so now he's got like this renegade theme in Civil War. Right. So yeah, unfortunately, you know, nobody's ever really had a solid theme that's been consistent. And even though Alan Silvestri didn't do the theme in Age of Ultron, they did bring in his music, but the rest of the score is kind of, you know, it's there, but it was nice to have that. It's been nice to have that only consistency so far with this particular film and the MCU, because film scores are just they're not really, you know, an important aspect anymore. Even though
which is sad because
I mean, but you got to remember
the score helps bring the emotion to the scene.
Yeah, you got to remember we grew up in the '80s where if you had a John Williams scored movie, you were gonna get 5 themes including the main title theme just from him.
Yeah,
I had the radio on this morning on my lunch. A classical music station was playing. They were playing Marion's theme from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm like, Jesus Christ, John Williams.
Wow.
You know, he was in growing up on that, and then to kind of like hear the de-evolution of music now, it's kind of like, it's a little bit of
everything now is blah.
Yeah. The Hans Zimmer, unfortunately, was the one responsible for the blah.
Unfortunately,
but it was like, but when the Hans Zimmer blah came out, we're still a fan of Hans Zimmer's music.
Oh, God.
But unfortunately, due to the
everyone
success
else
of Hans Zimmer's music, everyone has to copy it.
And I think because of that, a lot of people don't realize how amazing of a composer Hans Zimmer actually is. Mm-hmm. Like, as much as I adore the work he did, he was like a co-composer on the first 2 Nolan Batman films, and then he took over completely for the third film. But people don't realize that he's actually a diverse composer.
Yeah.
But that's, you know.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may not love the movie.
I don't, but you know the theme.
But the theme is recognizable.
Yeah, and that's something that you don't really get in movies these days.
That's true. But yeah, the score was definitely great in Infinity War. Again, one of our concerns, even though we were excited to go see it, which is what you brought up, and too many characters. Mm-hmm. And there's so many fucking characters in this movie, but yet, because of the writing and the pacing and editing and directing being so well done, everybody had their time to shine. Mm-hmm. Everyone had their chance to, you know, no one felt just passed over.
Even the minor characters like Mantis.
Yeah.
Mantis, yeah.
Give
her little girl face.
Yeah.
So it's just like that is a feat within itself, because look what happened with Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Everyone complained. Too many characters fucked everything up. Plots all over the place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can also go to Marvel's Netflix series Daredevil Season 2. There was a lot of characters. We had Elektra storyline mixed in with the Punisher storyline, and even though we enjoyed,
and you brought Kingpin back.
Yeah, Kingpin as well,
and told as a series, so you had more time to play with.
Right. Still felt a little messy.
It felt, something always feels off whenever I watch that second season. As much as I love, I mean, I've said this every single time I watch it. I notice that I watch the Punisher episodes all the way through. And then as soon as Elektra shows up, as much as I love the actress that plays Elektra, I start skipping past that storyline because I just do not find it engaging.
as the Punisher's version.
I'm so drawn to the Punisher story of that second season, and it's it's unfortunate because
and that's just two to three characters.
Yeah,
but this one
you have 10 years of films leading up to this particular. And the first Avengers was a feat in itself, but on paper this movie should not have worked. Yeah, just based on how bloated it was with characters.
Yeah. Oh, let me bring up a bad example. I know Fat Ninja, Lady Fat Blood has brought it to my attention that you were okay with the season. You didn't really mind it that much. But I fucking hated the Defenders. I fucking fuck that fucking shit.
I was not a fan.
That was that fucked everything up.
Unfortunately,
that ruined everything.
I really wanted to like it too.
That fucking ruined the universe. It fucked everything up, and we're gonna get into that when we get to our Marvel Netflix thing. But all those characters in that fucked it all up.
And they each had a TV series behind them to lead into that, which was still kind of like, wow,
fucked it up. So anyway, Avengers, in our opinion, didn't fuck it up. They could have easily have done that. So in terms of the plot, what do we have going now for the basic plot of Avengers Infinity War? It's right after Thor Ragnarok, where Thor Ragnarok ended all happy with the Asgard. What was the tagline? And we are Asgardians. No, what was it?
It's Asgard is not a place; it's the people.
It's a people, right? Yeah. Fuck all that. Everyone's fucking dead. So, I'm assuming. I think in the movie they did mention that some got away. Yeah. Which is probably Korg, Valkyrie, and some other Asgardians got away, but everybody else is fucking dead. Yeah. No happy ending in this. Including
our perennial favorite and fan favorite, Loki.
Yeah.
Loki, actually, after this development that we had in Thor Ragnarok, where finally Thor and Loki have this middle ground that they meet on, and it's like, we're this is it. Our planet's gone, our home is gone. We gotta just, we're together now, and that's, we're just gonna do the best we can to see through this. Yeah. And you have this emotional moment where you think Loki's gonna turn on them, but no, he's actually trying to stop Thanos from doing what he's doing, and he gets choked out.
Yeah, he gets his neck cracked.
Kind of dies.
He gets punked.
Yeah.
He gets punked.
It's debatable how seriously he's dead.
Of course.
Yeah, I was going to ask
because he's faked his death multiple times.
Do you honestly think he's dead this time?
Some of the other things I've seen have shown things like whenever Loki pulls out his knives, he usually uses a specific hand. But when he's faking it somehow, he's using a different hand.
Oh.
I don't know. That could be just,
possibility.
Yeah. So I think it's very likely he faked his death.
Okay. So he's too popular of a character to just job him out, basically.
Well, if you're not going into the mechanics of, market demographics and all that crap, if you're just looking storyline-wise, I think he knew he could not win, thus he had to find a way out.
It's a good point. I actually didn't mind him dying, though.
No, it makes sense that he died heroically. Yeah. For sure.
But he is the god of mischief.
He is the god of mischief.
So, Heimdall dying, well, I'm not surprised he died.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But it was nice to see...
After the Warriors 3 dying the way they did in Thor Ragnarok.
It was nice that he got more screen time, like you mentioned the other day, in Thor Ragnarok. Idris Elba's character, Heimdall. That was nice. But yeah, he did job very quickly. But, he heroically was able to teleport the Hulk out of there. After the Hulk, back to Earth, after the Hulk got the shit kicked out of him, he got beat up so bad. That's got to be the worst. I mean, he jumped fast. What was a half a minute, that fight?
He got in a couple of punches, and then Thanos was like, oh.
Fucked him up.
Okay, let's actually fight now. And then,
What? Yeah, go ahead.
To the point to where we never see the Hulk ever again in the rest of Infinity War.
Because he's like, come out! He's like, no!
Yeah. Which was kind of freaking hilarious.
It's like, what do you mean, no?
Especially after seeing him refuse to relinquish control practically in Thor Ragnarok.
For 2 years.
Yes, exactly.
But that was pretty funny. It makes sense. He got bitch slapped. He got punked.
Yeah.
he's scared to come out. I mean, that's something we've never seen before. I actually like that.
There's an interesting fan theory, and I don't know how much of it's been confirmed by the Russos or what, but they're saying that, like most people are kind of thinking, well, Hulk knows someone can beat him, so he's not coming out again until that guy's eliminated. But the other theory is Hulk does not want to save Banner's ass anymore. That's why he's staying away. Because he's tired of being Banner's bitch.
That's debatable.
Yeah, it's debatable.
That's interesting.
It's an interesting alternative perspective.
That is interesting. But I really love the character of Maw. I'm sorry. I really like Maw.
Ebony Maw,
Yeah. Rejoice! For your death is at hand.
Yeah.
I really like this character. I thought he died too quickly.
Yeah.
But
he died in a good death way.
yeah, at least they gave him a good death.
Yeah.
And, I get it. We have so much more to do in the film. We couldn't have him stick around too long.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed him.
Ebony Maw being the kind of sorceress of the or sorceress type character in the Thanos' group of the Black Order.
Yeah.
And able to take down Doctor Strange pretty easily.
Yeah. The other group members were fun to watch, but you didn't really get to know their personality that much because they barely had any screen time.
Yeah.
So.
And they didn't really call them by name too much.
Yeah. But I did enjoy Maw, though.
Yeah.
So after that, Thor is left for dead on the ship. Thanos got his second Infinity Stone. And ship rolls up. They leave Thor for dead, and they transport back to Thanos' ship.
This is how much they had to compress that storyline. Thanos gets his first Infinity Stone by just basically off-screen destroying all of the Nova Corps.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So we never.
They just mention it.
Can you imagine seeing that?
Yeah.
That would have been cool to watch.
Yeah.
But budget
and time.
Definitely time.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
So Glenn Close is dead, and John C. Reilly.
You don't know if they're dead, but chances are
he at least fucked everything up to the point where probably a lot of people died.
Right.
Yeah, but he did get that stone. But
so next up, we have our Guardians show up. Some really funny banter, and like you brought up a while back, you were bringing up how when the Guardians showed up, thanks to James Gunn still being involved with the writing for their particular sections, it still felt like a Guardians of the Galaxy film.
it did.
It didn't feel out of place either.
Yeah, and I thought that's another thing that this movie excelled at. Like I was saying, is that being so concerned with how everybody's tones would mix well together. It's somehow they made everybody have their own feel to it. They used sets. Obviously, they're going to be having their own costumes and all that good stuff. But when the Guardians were on screen together, you felt like you were in another Guardians film, another Guardians adventure. When Doctor Strange was on screen, it was like, oh yeah, he's got his own. Everything mixed up very well. But yeah, the Guardians showing up again, introducing me to a song I had never heard before called "The Rubber Band Man." Thank you very much. I bought that song. And you know what's really funny? What was really funny? I'd never heard this song before ever, and as soon as Infinity War played it in their film, I started hearing it on the radio. So thank you. You've reintroduced a really fun little song.
And that's probably all James Gunn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that song either. To be honest.
I don't really know that song from before.
No, but it's an oldie. I mean,
it's an oldie but a goodie because every time that song comes on, I like it.
Yeah, it brings a smile to my face.
So we go back to Doctor Strange getting captured by Maw, and we have Spider-Man and Iron Man basically following the ship as Maw is on. While Maw's torturing Doctor Strange, he's trying to get him to release the Time Stone.
Now before we get there, Spider-Man's entrance into the movie, like I love that scene with his hair standing up on his arm, and then even his best buddy covering for him.
Cause a distraction.
Yeah. Oh my God, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
And Stan Lee turns around.
And tell me that didn't feel like Spider-Man Homecoming right there.
Yeah.
Like that scene on the bus.
They capture the tone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
this doesn't happen in a lot of franchises.
And all the banter between Tony and Peter resonating from all what had happened in that film, you know, carrying over into this film. And it was just like nothing, everything just flowed so smoothly. But anyway, back to the plot.
Yeah.
Well,
Peter Parker making us feel old.
Oh, God. This really old movie called Aliens? Have you ever seen it? It's like, shut up. Get the fuck out of here, kid. I'll bitch slap your ass back to 1981, man.
Anyway, so we have them following. They sneak into the ship, and Maw's torturing Doctor Strange to get that time stone, and then they end up killing Maw, and they agree to say, you know what, fuck this. We know Thanos is coming to us. Bruce Banner, when he got sent back down there from Heimdall, Bruce Banner met up with the team and let them know Thanos is coming. So after that, fast forward to them going, you know what? Why are we waiting for Thanos? Let's catch him off guard. We're already going to Planet Titan anyway. Let's go there, let's surprise him, and let's fuck him up there. So that seems to be the plan. Meanwhile, the Guardians run into Thor's body. They run into him literally. They bring him aboard, and we have some hilarious dialogue. What did Drax say? He's like, what did he say? He says something he's like talking to Star-Lord,
like
Chris
an angel
Pratt.
or something.
He's like, it looks like a pirate and an angel had a baby.
Yeah.
And he's all like, you're a dude. He's not a dude. He's a man. It's a really funny dialogue there. I love how Drax is standing there scene. He's like, I have mastered the art of standing so still that I'm invisible to the naked eye.
That little scene there, to give him that much time to a ridiculous throwaway joke is like, no other movie would do that, would dare do that, and they found a way to put in a nothing joke.
Where is Gamora?
Yeah.
Why is Gamora? No, I just would.
Who is Gamora? Why is Gamora?
Yeah.
Why is Gamora?
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they run into him. They exchange dialogue and words. We're forward through the plot here. And Thor's like, look, we're not strong enough to fight this dude. We know where Thanos is heading. He's going to Planet Nowhere. You guys take the ship, go to Planet Nowhere, because the Collector still has the stone over there. Me and the Captain.
Yeah.
What do you call him? The Rabbit? Rocket Raccoon. Come with me. We're going to go to, what is it? I'm going to let you pronounce that shit.
Nidavellir?
Yeah. You made that up. to run into Mr. Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Playing the giant dwarf.
Yes.
Whatever his name is. I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, I'm not remembering either.
But Thanos forced him to make the gauntlet, which we never knew that.
But
a while back.
Before that, on the way, Rocket and Thor
Oh yes, talk about that scene.
This really interesting scene where Thor has already at this point, you know, just a brief history on the Thor franchise. Thor, the first film, again, was a fun origin story. It kind of helped introduce his character, which was an absolute necessity because he was going to be a heavy hitter in Avengers. And then by the time the sequel came out, it didn't really do much to progress anything. It did what it needed to do, but as a character, he was still kind of the same as he was by the end of the first Thor film and the Avengers. Nothing had really changed for him.
Point Break.
I might say he kind of devolved in character. He didn't really grow any in his second movie.
That's what I mean. It's like
Interesting.
it's like by the time the end of the first film, the first Thor came around, he was
had
benevolent.
Right.
Yeah, and he liked the humans. He wanted to protect Earth. By the time Thor 2 came around, he was still that character.
Right.
Nothing changed for him at all. And it was
Shakespeare in the Park.
Yeah, it was the same thing in the Avengers. He was just there to protect the Earth because he swore to protect the Earth. Nothing had changed. And again, if that's the way you wanted to go with him, fine. And some people might not like the humorous and out there way that Thor Ragnarok was handled, but from a character standpoint, he went through a lot. Thor 2, he lost his mom. In Thor 3, he lost his dad, realized Loki was still around, had to deal with all that shit, and by the end of that, he lost his planet. Him and Loki, kind of came to this mutual understanding.
Technically, he lost his sister, too.
The sister he didn't really know, so it's a little
But
different.
family-wise, his friends are, even though he
Yeah,
never
his
acknowledged
friends,
his friends being dead, his friends are all dead.
Yeah.
So by the time Avengers Infinity War comes out, all of this shit has gone down. He's just gone through Thor Ragnarok. Boom, Loki's dead. His planet, most of the people from his planet are now gone, and he has this moment with Rocket where he's just sitting there, kind of half broken.
Yeah,
And
great scene.
They have this conversation where Rocket's like, "Oh boy,
Time for me to be the captain."
yeah," and Thor basically breaks down and he cries just a little bit. He's like a little tear, but he basically just comes to realize, "Yeah, I've lost everything. I've lost absolutely everything. How much worse could things actually get for me? What more do I have to lose at this point?"
Yeah.
And who would have thought you would have solid drama coming from a god character and a raccoon?
Yes.
A CGI.
Yes.
Yes.
Raccoon.
And
That's right.
And much to my disappointment, Rocket gives him a new eye, which is fine. But I loved Thor with the eye patch, so I was kind of disappointed that he, didn't.
He
get
pulled out of his ass.
Yes.
Yeah, literally.
Well, some people say he pulled it out of his ear, but that doesn't necessarily make it better.
No. Either way, you should have watched it before
Yeah.
you put it in.
Yeah. And
But,
it's funny you brought that up because Cranky Critic is now on board with the franchise. He's been watching every movie and he's trying to he's playing catch up. And he's been watching all the films and he's just now at Guardians of the Galaxy, a movie he wanted to hate.
And we warned him because he's very.
Yeah.
He's weird when it comes to films like that. But oddly enough, he saw Iron Man, which he enjoyed. He saw Captain America, which he really liked. He skipped Thor and watched the first Avengers back in the day, and he was so fucking lost. He hated Loki. He didn't get the whole aspect of all that. Now he's rewatching everything. I said, you cannot watch Avengers without, you can't just skip. You cannot. He was pulling what a lot of people do, and he was skipping things because, it doesn't look good. Yeah, but if you want to really get into the franchise, you have to.
Yeah.
You literally have to. They've laid it out for you, and now you have to, or don't do it at all. But anyway.
Yeah.
But
like
he's actually enjoying things a lot better.
But what did he say though? He was surprised.
He was surprised by he was surprised by how the two CGI characters stole the film. He thought Rocket and Groot absolutely stole the film, and he acknowledged that it is a silly premise, which it fucking is. But at the same time, it had so much heart to it.
Yeah.
And that's been something that I feel that the Guardians, out of all of the Marvel franchises so far, Guardians has the most heart behind it. In terms of just the characters just all interacting with each other, especially in the second one where they have that split, but they all come back together, and especially with
and so much of that again is James Gunn.
Yeah.
Because
he will sorely be missed.
Yeah.
For Guardians Volume 3, unfortunately.
However that pans out, because Dave Bautista ain't having none of that shit. I don't know.
There's a thing that James Gunn did, and I'm sorry to harp on James Gunn so much, but the way he used music, popular sort of, but forgotten popular music, and then picking characters out of nowhere to make them super mega popular. There's not been too many examples of that.
Yeah, look at the Yondu character played by Michael Rooker. Never thought we would like that guy.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is actually kind of a little heartbreaking what's happening right now.
Yeah, by the end of that second movie.
A character we never heard of.
Yeah, and I'm not big on like family themes when it comes to filmmaking. I just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But they fucking nailed it in that movie, just in terms of everybody. The families fight, families bicker, but if you love each other enough, you come back, and that whole film was just like, Jesus Christ.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. Yeah. So back to Avengers, but yeah, that was a great scene, and it again, like you brought up before, the directors, the Russo brothers, having the spectacle, the big CGI action sequences, all this big bombastic epicness, but yet taking the time to have these quiet little moments to give emotional content.
Yeah. And,
well, you got to care about the characters that you're throwing into big CGI messes.
Yeah,
and yet you have people. I'm sorry, I have to keep going back to this, but there's been people that I know have just blindly went to go see Avengers Infinity War and were completely lost.
Yeah.
And didn't give a shit about anyone and was completely confused by the second half and was completely lost and was just like, I don't understand what that big deal with that movie was.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what, I'm kind of done talking to you right now.
No, this is
we can't continue the conversation now. I have stuff to do.
This is literally the one.
It's pointless.
This is literally the one that it's like if any of the other films before Infinity War didn't solidify that you have to be interlocked with everything, even if you don't love all the films that Marvel comes out with, even if you're just fine with Doctor Strange, even if you're just fine with Ant-Man and stuff like that, even if you don't like Thor, you still, if you want to have any kind of stake in any of this, you have to be involved with everything in some way, shape, or form.
That's why they went out of their way to have end credit sequences that would lead up to the next movie.
Yeah.
Some of them were kind of pointless.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them were just for fun.
Ant-Man,
but some of them were...
Ant-Man and the Wasp was...
We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
But, so now we are on...
Oh, we had another good quiet moment, splitting off because...
when they go to nowhere.
They go to nowhere.
Yeah.
And, obviously it's now with Drax, Mantis, Star-Lord, and Gamora.
Yeah.
And they're going after Thanos.
It's a trap.
Yeah. And, of course, Gamora, my personal history with Gamora was I was not a fan of her from the first film. I thought she tried way too hard and she didn't have enough development to back her up. And Nebula was a throwaway character. She was an over-the-top, villainous, twirling her invisible mustache character. But by the second film, oh my god, I cannot believe what they did with Nebula, and I can't believe what they did with Gamora. And those two characters, they were 180s from what they were in the first film. And I actually felt a little bit more for Gamora, and especially Nebula. Nebula for sure, but Gamora, I actually started like, okay, I get her now. I get her a little bit more now. Well, in this movie, you get the full backstory gamut with her. You get her as a little girl where Thanos comes in and you see her destroying the planet. He takes a liking to her because she's got a little bit of spunk. He gives her the dagger and is like basically sparing her from having to watch her people get killed.
Yeah.
And you see him taking her in and all that. Well, in this movie, they build on everything you've known about her so far. And we've already known that she was a killer and that she was an assassin for him when she was younger. And this one, they make it to where, I've always hated my life and blah, 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 which is possible. Yeah, she may have hated it the whole time. She may have known that what she was doing was wrong the whole time, but she still did it. And
what are you going to do if Thanos is your dad?
Of course.
What are you going to do? Say no?
Of course. Yeah, of course. But in this movie, she keeps protesting, like, no, I've hated you. I've hated my life this whole time. But what happens when she thinks she actually kills Thanos? She fucking breaks down sobbing. And I thought that was like, whoa. That was like a crazy scene out of nowhere in this ridiculous CGI spectacle. Another quiet moment where you have...
stabs him in the neck. And he's looking at her like, no,
like,
why?
Yeah, and she thinks she's killed her adopted, murderous, horrible father.
Yeah.
And... It's just one of those, again, a great scene where it's just like, where the hell is this coming from? Just out of nowhere. And
if you could look at it in two different lenses. You can look at it like he's a murderous beast that just happened to kind of leave her alive, or in the kind of, abused victim perspective. This is the only person who took me out and saved me. That's
how I looked at it. Like, she hates him, but he's still the only father figure that she actually remembers having.
Right.
And that is a powerful... It's like, sometimes it's almost like an example of just bad relationships with parents in general. It's like, even if you have the worst...
boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever.
Yeah, the worst mother or father or whatever in the world, it's like... Yeah, you might break off from them and you might never have anything to do with them ever again, but at the end of the day, they're the only ones you've ever had, and it's like...
You don't know better.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was like a really, really just out of nowhere kind of powerful scene, and good acting from Zoe Saldana. I hate to admit it, because, I don't hate her, I don't dislike her or anything like that, but she's kind of been thrust into this strong, independent, woman character
in multiple roles.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, take it or leave it or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was a really,
But
interesting scene.
then you find out it was all a ruse. Thanos already took over that planet.
He has the stone.
He has the
reality
stone. He uses it. He actually shows what the planet actually looks like. Everything's on fucking fire. Thanos is not dead. Gamora did not kill him. And the Collector disappears, so we don't really know if he's dead. We can assume he's dead.
He's probably dead,
Yeah.
but we don't know for sure.
But Benicio del Toro is just hamming it up.
Yeah.
Before we move on, what do you guys think of this? What's a better representation? For the new generation, for the younglings, what would you rather have? Guardians of the Galaxy to be their new Star Wars? Or Episode 7?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Because when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, a lot of people were saying that this is a Star Wars for a new generation.
No, absolutely.
Years before Episode 7 came out.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Star Wars Episode 7.
Absolutely, Guardians. This is more fun.
There's a baggage with Star Wars now that
Yes.
there is not, sort of, with Guardians yet.
And Star Wars, I hate to say it, Star Wars isn't really all that fun anymore. I mean, Episode 7 had its moments, but Episode 8, I didn't find it fun.
There's a freewheeling fun in Guardians that is not there with the more recent Star Wars movies. I would agree.
Yeah,
Right.
I feel like...
The original trilogy, there was a freewheeling fun.
Yeah, that's...
The prequel
Exactly.
trilogy, no, not really.
So much. Not so much at all, I don't think.
They tried. They tried with this new
Very
series.
rare.
but
Very
it's-
rare.
yeah.
A few moments, maybe.
Yeah.
With Yoda in the third movie.
Yeah.
Insidious, over-the-top acting, maybe, in Episode 3.
Well,
But that's more talk for another podcast,
Yeah.
which we will do, because we did promise to talk about The Last Jedi.
Oh, Jesus.
And we have not done it yet.
Oh, sweet
we have
Jesus.
not watched it for a second time yet.
Oh, I can't bring
We went
myself
out.
to do it.
I think I'm regretting it, but we went out and bought the 4K Steelbook just to have it, only because we have Episode 7, and we have not opened it and watched that son of a bitch.
No.
What does that tell you? That's not good.
Yeah.
So I would like to watch it again, revisit it, and then I would like maybe all three of us we get together and talk about it. I say we bring in Cranky Critic
Oh,
to
Jesus.
talk about it, because I'm sure he has a lot to say.
Oh, boy.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. But
So we were left off on Nowhere
yes.
with Thanos taking over.
Thanos
Gamora-
uses the gem and
Right.
turns...
Gamora wants Star-Lord to kill her.
Yeah,
Turns Mantis into ribbons and Drax into cubes.
right. Stops them in their tracks.
Star-Lord
turns
shooting
Star-Lord's-
bubbles.
Yeah, Star-Lord actually goes to kill Gamora because Gamora made him promise, if Thanos gets me, you have to kill me because I know something. And if he finds out, it's not good. And he's begrudgingly agrees to it, but he hesitates, but then he goes to
He
do
actually
it.
does it, yeah.
He goes to do it, but Thanos turns is gonna do it, bubbles. And so that doesn't work, and so he kidnaps her, obviously.
And Thanos goes, I like you.
And of course,
Now we're back to Thor with Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
Because he needs him to build him
A new hammer.
a new weapon. In a way, a
Yeah.
Thanos killer.
Yes.
But they need to restart the engine? What is it? The furnace.
which can
Yeah.
somebody
The Dying Star.
okay
That's another sponsor. We should probably look for. Dying Star. Metalworks.
maybe you guys can help me out with this, and maybe this is a comic thing.
It'd be him, not me.
Okay. So the whole point of Thor Ragnarok was Mjolnir gets destroyed by Hela. And Thor thinks he's powerless.
Right.
But then he realizes by the end that he never needed it. It was just a channel for
to focus his powers.
And so he has his powers full blown by the end of that
Thor
film.
Ragnarok, yeah.
Why does he need a weapon now all of a sudden? Does this make him
I think
stronger?
Thanos is too powerful.
But does this enhance his power? Is that what it is? Because I wasn't really sure.
It's probably a power enhancer. It's
because Thanos is enhanced.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
So-
obviously he's. But is that what this is? Is just a really strong weapon?
Stormbreaker.
Yeah,
right?
that's what it's called.
If you guys are hearing swishy sounds, that's me having a Jack and Coke.
Fat Samurai's getting drunk.
I think this is probably being generous to Age of Ultron, but Thor's dreamy bath in Age of Ultron
Okay.
probably told him that he recognizes the level of threat that is coming, and probably he had in his mind at some point, I need to, with the weapon I have, as long as I have it, maybe I could take this guy down, but without it, I need another weapon.
Okay.
That's probably being generous, reading too much into things, but I'm thinking that's the line of logic.
Thanos is so powerful, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if he challenged his lightning ability, a thunder ability, it's...
And Thor would have recognized that
Wouldn't
these
have been enough.
stones make someone into another level that he's not at.
Yeah.
Okay. So Stormbreaker, because of whatever it's made out of, plus the Dying Star,
Yeah.
smelting it and all that,
Yeah.
it just enhances everything he has, basically.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
even something... Now, what was one of the complaints with the first Avengers film? We love the first Avengers movie. It was very entertaining. It's still entertaining.
You want to talk
What
about
was-
a quick complaint from first Avengers film is Cap's outfit. But
Oh,
anyway, go ahead.
Jesus Christ.
Captain America's outfit.
Huge misstep.
Which
Huge.
I still don't understand how they fucked that up.
Yeah.
Because Captain America had a good suit in his own fucking movie.
In his origin movie.
But in Avengers,
What,
it was
Coulson
like...
designed it or something like that's the throwaway line that they gave, and it was just
Maybe
hideous.
you should have wore it for a scene. But then after
He
that...
should have looked at it and been like, oh, hell no.
He looked far better with his helmet off.
Yeah. But the color, like everything just...
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
too bright. It was,
nah,
yeah.
it-
Thank God they fixed his suit even by Age of Ultron. They fixed it. It
Yeah.
was a combination.
Well, it was the Winter Soldier,
Soldier,
and then
yeah.
an
The
evolution of
stealth
that.
suit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
I love that suit.
oh,
But even
yeah.
at the end of Winter Soldier, he went back to his suit that he had from
Right,
fucking...
from First
Because
Avengers.
he got it from the
The museum.
museum.
Yeah.
From the first,
From the first movie.
From the
Yeah.
first, yeah.
Yeah.
Captain
So,
America.
see, the first suit worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the
it was-
main complaints of Avengers, the first Avengers film, was the long, drawn out repairing of the Shield aircraft.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sequence with Iron Man repairing it. I didn't have a problem with it, but
It
I
made
could
sense to
see,
me.
I could see people were like, "Why are we taking this long of a time to repair the Shield helicarrier?"
I think they wanted
That
to
was one of the
show.
complaints.
I think they wanted to show interplay between Cap and Tony.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I didn't have a problem with it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that was one of the complaints. We're like, we're wasting time,
Huh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't see that, but okay.
right?
Okay.
So we have a similar sequence here with Infinity War. Let's start the furnace sequence.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Like, they could have made that boring
It's another one of those. It's
and
not.
long and drawn out,
Yeah.
but it was entertaining enough to watch.
Yeah. It's another one of those. It's not extremely
disagree?
necessary to have this scene.
It's not essential, yeah,
Yeah.
but it
No.
also
It shows the sacrifice.
and it kind of
though.
it shows Thor's resolve.
And
Yeah.
also Thor's like toughness, I guess, that he's
It
taking.
shows the sacrifice.
Yeah.
It shows Rocket trying to help him,
Yeah.
and it shows Groot,
Yeah.
who at this point,
yeah,
having a
That's
character arc for
Groot,
himself.
Groot actually helps forge
Yeah.
Storm. He like uses that piece of his arm or
Yeah.
whatever to actually bring it together because it was all broken into little pieces.
Groot
Yeah.
is a weird character because he doesn't really have a character arc after the first movie. You see him have an arc in the first movie.
Yeah,
The second movie, he's a baby. He doesn't really
Yeah.
have an arc.
right.
He's sort of heroic,
just
but he's
there-
stupid.
He's just there to be cute.
Yeah.
for the audience.
Then in Infinity War, he is grown up to kind of teenage.
He's a
Groot,
dick.
but he's like playing video games the whole time.
But then by the end,
which is hilarious.
by
Yeah.
the end, he actually does get his own little mini arc because
Well-
he learns the sacrifice.
He sacrifices his arm for the handle of the
Right.
Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
So that's
and
the
then
point I was trying to
by
make
the
was-
time by the time
yeah.
he dies,
Yeah. Then
spoiler,
Yeah.
he says what he says, which James Gunn later ripped everybody's hearts out on
Yeah.
Twitter by saying what he actually said to
Which-
Rocket.
When he says "I am Groot" at the very end of Infinity War, he's saying,
to Rocket.
yeah,
Rocket.
to Rocket.
So basically calling Rocket
Just
Dad.
twist our hearts and make us cry.
yeah,
Yeah.
just twist the knife in there and, you know,
Yeah.
pour
But-
salt in it.
Finally, his character arc started
Yeah.
during the furnace sequence.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Is even a long, drawn out, let's start the furnace pointless sequence. Even that was important.
Yeah.
Which that should have been bullshit.
Yeah.
Even Red Letter Media is a YouTube channel that we watch sometimes, and they loved Avengers Infinity War. They really loved it. To them, they were like, we don't need any more. This is the pinnacle of superhero movies. We don't need it. This is like the top. We don't need any more. But even they were like, they were kind of bashing DC. We're not bashing DC, but I thought it was funny because they were like, let's see the DCU universe do a start the furnace sequence and make it entertaining.
Oh, God.
And make it entertaining. I was laughing my ass off. I was like, damn it.
Oh, dear.
So
well,
anyway.
and again, it's another example of how well everything just fit together. So, I mean, what was this movie, like 2.5? Was it 2.5 or 220?
It's
Or was it longer?
very close to 3, I think.
Or was it 240-ish? It was long.
Yeah.
It was at this, as of right now, before Endgame comes out, it was the longest Marvel film.
Yes.
And I think Endgame is going to surpass it, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken, in length.
Right.
This movie does not feel its length to me.
It doesn't.
Like,
No.
this movie
Because it
When I was
moves.
watching it the other day.
flies. Like,
It moves.
you literally, by the time you get to the furnace scene,
Yeah.
you're like 2 steps away from the finale, which is very long.
Yeah.
But by the time you get there, you're almost at that finale, and by the time you hit the finale, it's just like skipped by. And it's
2.5.
It is 2.5?
Yeah, 2.5.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it. Which, again, you get a movie at that length with that many characters, any wrong step with the pacing and scene placement and everything you could imagine could have just gone horribly wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, and I know a lot of people don't agree with it because they don't like Marvel films, and that's fine. They don't like the Marvel films.
That's fine. Yeah.
But for
Each his
me,
own.
it flies by.
Yeah.
Including the start the furnace scene. It's
Yeah.
fine. I think everything. Oh, here's a good example. We saw the cut scenes. Did you see the cut scenes for Infinity War?
The deleted scenes.
The deleted
I think
scenes?
so.
Yeah, they needed to stay deleted. I'm
Yeah.
glad they
Yeah,
knew
yeah.
what to cut.
Yeah.
And they did well.
Yeah.
As opposed to Age of Ultron, which needed about 30 more minutes of footage in
Could
it.
have cut down.
But yeah, you know, they cut what they needed to, and everything else just, it was great. It was what it needed to be.
So now we're on Titan, Iron Man, and meet up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're planning on fighting Thanos. They're preparing for when Thanos shows up. They're trying to get a plan together. And even Doctor Strange is like looking into the future, and he's just like, "Fuck! Out of I don't know how many billion possibilities, we only win one." And then of course the rest of the team's like, "Fuck!" But there are heroes. They're Earth's mightiest heroes, so they have to try anyway.
Did we skip over Vision and Scarlet Witch
We
already?
did. We haven't mentioned them at all.
Oh, okay, good thing you brought that up.
Yeah. So
Earlier in the film.
yeah, I don't remember exactly where they come into play, but I really love their little fight sequence with
It was
the Black
during
Order.
Mall's attack.
It was after Maw's attack, but I don't remember exactly where it falls in.
Like Tony Stark is missing is on the news.
Right.
Yeah.
So Vision and Scarlet Witch, they're kind of pursuing their relationship, but kind of low key out of the public eye,
Because Vision is fully functional.
and looking very, very human. But the Black Order are after him because he's got the stone in his head. But I love their little fight scene in like the rooftops.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't have worked. It should have been CGI mess, but I could follow. It was well shot, and I love like the moonlight fight sequence and
Yeah.
just all the action underground and then on top,
Yeah.
and then the way Cap comes in. I've been known to cry in movies. It's not like I'm completely shut off from my emotions.
Yeah.
But when he comes in with the music swelling and all that,
Yeah.
and him catching the little trident that gets thrown at him, I was like, holy shit, he has sacrificed himself in so many ways. He is now taking on opponents that are definitely stronger than him just for the sake of his friends.
Yeah.
Because he's Captain America.
Because he's Captain America.
Yeah.
That's right.
And following that, you get that scene at the end where you get this human. Yeah, he's hopped up on super soldier juice, but you get this human going toe to toe with Thanos, like going so far as to like
Pushing
hold
the
the fucking
Yeah.
glove
Yeah.
with all his, every fiber of his being.
Yeah.
It's a great shot.
And you see that one quick second of, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like Thanos' face is
Yeah, like,
like, why am I struggling with
Yeah.
this little ant?
how
Yeah.
dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's
How dare
Cap.
you.
That's why we love Cap.
funny enough, in our first theatrical experience with Infinity War, the audience cheered their asses off with that scene when Cap showed up. When you get the shadow, you just
Yeah.
get the silhouette and you don't know who it is at first, and you get the train passing by, and then he steps out of the shadows, and everybody was like, "Yeah!" It was so much fun. Our first showing, the audience was so engaged with the film, and we have some really funny moments. We have a hilarious moment at the end that I wanted to talk about it the first time we did our first impressions, but it was a spoiler, so I couldn't do it. But I guess we'll get to that later on. But that was the first time the audience cheered. The second time we watched the film in the theater, by the way, the audience was dead.
Yeah.
Did not. It was pretty packed. They just were not. They were
probably
not.
had seen it already.
It's possible. It's very possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first time we saw it, everybody was so engaged, and it was a lot of fun being in a theater surrounded by people who were having as much fun as we were.
Yeah.
But we will go into our second audience reaction later in a later point in the film. But anyway, back to the story at hand.
So that little fight sequence is so good to me because of the teamwork being shown. Like first, it's Vision and Scarlet Witch kind of scrapping a little bit, but trying to run away at the same time.
Scarlet Witch was.
Yeah, she was holding her own.
Dope in this movie.
Yeah.
She was holding her own, but I think it's Proxima Midnight and something Glaive going after them, just a 2-on-2. But then you see Cap, Falcon, and Black Widow come in, and they're like a unit. Like they take them down.
Straight up tag team style.
Fast and hard. And
Black Ops.
Yeah.
Looking like they came from out of straight Black Ops team unit.
Cap in his overly worn down uniform. But they were
luscious
badass.
Beard.
Yeah. Amazing beard.
They had to flee.
Yeah.
That's how badass they were.
Yeah.
I love how Scarlett Johansson was like, well, we won't kill you, but if we have to.
Yeah.
She says that to her. So, yeah, that was a great scene. But, they meet it with Vision, who's all injured and damaged. And Vision's like, look, just destroy the damn stone. Don't worry about me. And Cap's like, we don't do that kind of thing. So then they meet it with Bruce Banner and they go to Wakanda.
Yeah.
That's right, where they meet Black Panther's sister, who's apparently more smarter than Tony Stark and Bruce Banner.
And Doctor Strange.
And Doctor Strange. So, where we are now. Because a lot of stuff's going on.
Yeah.
So we've gone through all that. So we got all the stuff.
Bucky's back.
Bucky's back.
Yeah.
He's been hiding out, kind of
The
chilling.
White Wolf.
Yeah,
Wakanda.
he's been chilling with just the one arm, like being a farmer and stuff like that. Excuse me.
In the very possibly Oscar-nominated Black Panther movie.
Oh, that's another
another podcast.
subject. That's another subject, possibly for this podcast, but maybe later.
No, let's talk about it right now.
You want to talk about it right now?
Yeah. So, we enjoyed the Black Panther. I think, for our review, I think we gave it a 4 out of 5, which is very good. That's a very good rating.
Yeah, I don't know if we gave it any higher, but
Yeah, I think that's what we gave it. I know it wasn't below a 4.
No.
And it was very entertaining. It was an entertaining origin story, but it was more of...
It wasn't even an origin story.
Well, it was...
Sort of origin.
Before Panther with his father and stuff.
That part, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is the plot is very similar to The Lion King. It is. But you have T'Challa dealing with his father's death, dealing with being the new king. Mm-hmm. And
sins of the father.
Sins of the father coming back to haunt his people. And definitely the best part of... the actor that plays T'Challa is great. I can't think of his name. Chadwick Boseman. He's a fantastic actor. He can do no wrong as of this point. But
Gods of Egypt proves that. He was best actor in that whole fucking movie. He knew exactly what he was in, and he was.
He's
perfect.
like, I'm in shit, so I'm gonna ham it up.
He was perfect,
and he hammed it up. But definitely the highlight of that movie is Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger, which finally gave us in the Marvel Universe a great villain after Loki, before Thanos. Mm-hmm. So Michael B. Jordan's character is definitely the highlight of the film.
Unfortunately, still following within the Marvel formula, though, of having the first major villain of a hero being basically a mirror image of that hero. At least in the way they portrayed him in the suit.
The evil version of...
I understand why they do it. They want to kind of define the hero by their villain, but it gets... The formula of that is kind of becoming tired. But he had more development as a character just until he got into that suit.
Yeah.
But he did, in terms of motivations,
Yeah.
he was probably one of the more compelling out there in terms of why he was the way he was.
So we were very entertained by the film. We highly recommend, if you guys like superhero movies, definitely check it out. But, however,
Oh boy.
Best Picture, I don't think so.
No.
And half of me is happy that a superhero movie's getting nominated. So half of me is happy. I'm torn a little bit. But the other half, more so, is just like, no, I don't. Because there's been better comic book films.
Like, I think if anything, The Dark Knight should have been the one.
Yep.
Yeah, people forget that The Dark Knight did not get nominated for Best Picture. Only Heath Ledger got nominated for his role. But The Dark Knight, you look at that production, plot, and acting, and everything in that movie didn't get shit.
No,
maybe
Knight,
best sound.
The Dark Knight, I watched that movie a couple months ago, and I'm just like, I still, to this day, that movie just gets me in my guts.
But a better example is Logan.
Yeah.
Logan, I think, is a better example because Logan was treated as a Western in a way to where people didn't really have to know the X-Men universe.
It helped a lot if you've seen the other ones, but you didn't have to know.
Yeah.
And it was the only goddamn rated R film that was allowed to use a child.
Yes.
Okay? Fuck you, The Predator, and your goddamn child pandering, and fuck you, Deadpool 2. That god-awful child was awful. He was awful. That little kid in Deadpool 2 was awful. The fat kid.
Oh, from...
he was terrible. He was terrible. There is nothing worse than a child in a rated R film because they make them trying to sound all badass and they make them try to sound all tough.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because they're cursing because they're a kid and I'm all hard and shit.
Yeah.
And it's dumb. It doesn't work. It didn't work in Deadpool 2. The little kid and the Predator was awful. That little girl in Logan, she's the only child that will ever give a pass in a rated R film for an American film.
Not only was her character badass and interesting,
but she could actually pull off the character she was playing.
The character she was playing, her performance was great. And that's the thing, you have the plot was easy to follow. Obviously, like you said, if you're in the X-Men franchise, you will have more of an emotional connectivity to it. But the performance from Patrick Stewart, the acting powerhouse performance from Hugh Jackman, which this film was his swan song for that character. There were people that I knew at work that had never seen an X-Men movie before, but they knew of Hugh Jackman, and they liked Hugh Jackman. And they went into Logan and were able to follow the film, This is rare. Marvel Cinematic Universe, you need to watch all the movies. But Logan was one of those rare movies where, since it was easy to follow as if it was a Western story or a samurai film, a Ronin movie, people could follow it. And the few people that I knew at work, never seen an X-Men movie, they could follow what was going on, and they were like, holy shit, that movie was, wow. And that movie got shit, you guys. Logan, no one nominated that fucking movie. I don't even think...
Did something for music, at least?
I don't know. I don't think Hugh Jackman got nominated for anything.
No.
Yeah, and that was acting powerhouse. So in comparison, Logan is a better choice. But like I said, half of me is a little...
Oh, no, it was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. Oscar.
Yeah, that's not Best Picture, though.
No, not Best Picture.
Yeah, that's not what it...
But then we forget that the Academy Award at one point nominated Avatar for Best Picture.
Oh, I'm gonna shut my face on that. That is a whole other podcast.
Yeah, that is a whole other podcast. So fuck that movie. But yeah, I like I said, enjoyed Black Panther, very entertained. Not sure about the Best Picture nomination. So now we got that out of the way. Anything else you need to say before we move on?
I didn't hate Avatar. Did it deserve Best Picture? No.
Right.
But Logan, if any of the superhero movies deserved at least a nomination, that was one, and Dark Knight, I would agree with those. But Black Panther, it just seems too much like just feeding into the current political environment, which doesn't necessarily make things better.
Well, choosing Black Panther, they're not choosing it because they like the movie.
No.
They're choosing it because they want to be popular.
Yeah, they want
it's a popularity contest.
They want the popular opinion on their side.
And at this point, isn't it like Denzel Washington not getting nominated for the one film, but then suddenly getting nominated for...
Yeah, there's a good example right there. Denzel Washington should have got Best Actor for The Hurricane.
Right.
but they knew they
and
fucked
then
up.
Training Day suddenly.
So then they gave him for Training Day, which he was great.
Which
Training
was
Day,
fine, but apparently the
but
Hurricane.
it felt like an apology award.
Yeah.
So.
And Oscars have been.
But
given.
if Black Panther wins, I'm not going to hate it.
No.
I'm going to be happy for the director, Ryan Coogler. I love what he did with Creed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be happy for the cast because I like the cast.
Yeah.
But it just feels fake.
Yeah.
It feels like, oh, that movie was a huge hit. You know, as much as I love Avengers Infinity War, and it's the pinnacle for superhero films right now, I don't even know if I would pick Avengers Infinity War for best picture.
I would give it nominations for certain aspects.
Yeah.
But not
for like visual effects and music,
film.
maybe. And
It's different.
I like Avengers Infinity War way better than Black Panther.
Yeah. But it's not that.
It just feels fake.
That's another thing to consider when you hear people like us rambling on about the MCU. Don't think that we don't know what these movies are.
Yeah.
We know
they're popcorn entertainment.
Yeah, and sometimes you get depth to them, and sometimes you get really great story and characters out of them. But at the end of the day, no, these are not Oscar caliber films. We know this. We're not that person.
And that's what makes Dark Knight and Logan stand out, because they went for something more than popcorn entertainment.
Yes.
I agree.
Definitely.
So now I'm back on Titan.
So back on Titan, where we live off, they're fighting Thanos for control.
Wait, we missed the big part. Thanos is trying to get the stone because Gamora, she knows where the stone is.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So
the funny thing about this, before you get into it, was I was before we saw the film, I was just talking to her. Going,
we were literally on the way.
Where the fuck is the Red Skull?
Yeah, we were talking about.
I wish the Red Skull would come back in some form. I know Hugo Weaving didn't like playing the role, unfortunately, but I'm sure it was the makeup. I heard the makeup in the hours was horrendous, and that's what he didn't like. But
so we had someone step into his role.
Did a pretty good Hugo Weaving impersonation.
A good impersonation of him, with a little bit of a new take on it, sort of.
So for Captain America: First Avenger, he grabs the Tesseract, and then he gets transported somewhere, and we never knew where he got transported to. And now in Avengers Infinity War, we find out where he was sent to, and it's kind of a cursed role.
Yeah,
he's stuck there basically forever,
guarding the Soul Stone, sort of.
Yeah, leading people to it to see if they're worthy, basically. But we were tripping the fuck out.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, "Was that Skeletor in the movie?"
Jesus.
So Thanos.
That was a fun little surprise. And so you get the scene.
We were tripping out
where he leads them to this cliff. Red Skull leads
Thanos, one of the best scenes in the film.
Thanos and Gamora to this cliff, and basically tells Thanos, so in order for you to get in order for you to get the Soul Stone, you have to sacrifice that which you love the most. And there's this beat, and then Gamora just starts laughing her ass off because she's like, dude, you fucking lost. You don't love anything, blah, blah, blah. And you see Thanos' face start to fall, and then he looks at her, and she's just like, are you shitting me? Basically, through no words, he basically is like, dude, I'm looking at it right here. So basically, in his own sick, twisted way, he did love Gamora as a daughter, as much as somebody like him could love anything.
And quick side note, again, you're pulling major emotion from basically a CGI character.
Yes, and a girl in green paint.
Yeah.
You know, her, and what was really interesting was that whole sequence. It goes kind of slow motion, and it goes not necessarily silent, but it goes kind of quiet, and this music, again, Silvestri's score comes in, and you get this facial acting from Brollin's motion capture, but the CGI and all that, and you see just how sad he is, but he knows what he has to do, and he like, begrudgingly, but he grabs Gamora, and it was so weird. I think you had brought it up after we saw it the first time, how he looked like he was pulling a little child along to her death, and she's like trying to fight, but she's so tiny she can't do anything against him. And it was almost like a petulant child not wanting to go someplace. It was a really odd looking. It was just such an odd scene, and I don't know. It was a powerful scene, and as soon as he throws her over the ledge, and you see his face, and he's like crying a little bit and all that.
The look on his face and the sweeping music for that scene.
Yeah.
Again, from a fucking
CGI.
purple Homer Simpson looking motherfucker.
Who for the past 10 years has been nothing but glorified cameos.
Right.
Yeah.
Of all things.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah,
and it worked.
Yeah, that whole scene was.
Thanos felt like a real character to me. Even from his very first appearance, and you just see the back of him in Infinity War. You see the back of him, he slowly turns around, he slowly walks up out of the darkness, and talks to his group. In the beginning of the film, he felt real.
I would say not since Gollum.
Probably.
A CGI character has actually felt like a real character and not just a side note, not just a gimmick.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. I mean, we haven't seen every single film. We haven't seen every single film.
That's why we're pretty much all in agreement that Thanos is the best MCU villain as of right now.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
So he obviously kills Gamora, and he gets the stone, and so then we end up back on Titan.
Right.
With everybody. And of course, we find out his reasonings for what we already kind of had a clue, but yeah, his whole purpose is that Titan was this wonderful, amazing place at one point. But everything got out of hand. Too many people, not enough resources to go around, and he came up with a solution, and nobody wanted to listen to it, and so the planet fell. Obviously, what was it? It was off its axis by a couple of degrees, and so the gravity was all fucked up, and it was uninhabitable, and basically everybody died. So anyway.
And going back to what you're saying about Gamora bitching about her life, and Thanos had to correct her. He's like, "When I found you, you guys were starving looking for scraps.
Yep.
And now, after I killed your whole planet, there's plenty of food, everybody's, good to go.
Yeah, the young people of your planet will never know hunger. That's what he told her. So
yeah. So,
Thor has his new hammer / Stormbreaker. They meet up with to fight Thanos' cronies on Wakanda. So you have Black Panther.
Oh wait, we're skipping over battle between Thanos and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man.
I think would they have it at the same time? I don't know. I don't remember.
I think it was after getting the Soul Stone.
Okay.
Because that's later is when Star-Lord.
Which was an amazing fight sequence.
Yeah.
The tag team maneuvers.
Yeah. Not as crisp as a unit as say Cap and his team were.
Right.
But which makes sense because they're not.
They're not. They're three characters that didn't really belong together.
Yeah, they're very clumsy. And
all time kind of taking their pot shots here and there.
They take ass and kick names.
Yes. Oh yeah, with the some of the Guardians in there too. But of that little fight scene with Thanos, you see Spider-Man pretty much have the glove in hand.
Yeah.
About to completely take it off.
Yeah, the success was almost there.
Yeah, and then Star-Lord fucks it up.
Star-Lord, a lot of people were like, fuck Star-Lord.
Yeah, so basically
when they saw this movie.
In this movie, obviously in the Guardians films up to this point, Star-Lord has had a thing for Gamora, and secretly Gamora has kind of had a thing, but they kept it as platonic as they could. But come this one, which at first I was like, wait a minute, in the second movie we were just not doing this, but now we're doing this. But yeah, they kiss in this one and they officially love each other. I was like, okay, well I guess enough time has passed even though we didn't get to see it. Because the second movie takes place right after the first film, which is still set in 2014, I believe. But now it's a couple of years later and that's why Groot's a teenager, yada yada yada. So time has passed and things could have happened and they might have gotten closer, whatever. So at this point, they do love each other at this point in the film. And Nebula is on the planet with them all as well. And she's obviously, her and Gamora have reconciled. And so now Nebula also cares about what happens to Gamora. And so Mantis has him in a head, not a mind meld, but in her little Mantis meld. And she realizes that, because she's kind of distracting him while Spidey's trying to get the glove off. But she has him in the little headlock. And she realizes that he's in pain. And they think, oh, it's because, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, he's in mourning. And Nebula's like, where the fuck is Gamora?
Yeah.
And that's when Star-Lord's like, what do you mean? Wait a minute. And Nebula's like, he left for the planet. What was the Soul Stone planet? What was it called?
I don't remember. Right
I don't
now.
remember. Fuck. Damn it.
Yeah.
But he left with Gamora, and he only came back. Gamora is not with him. Where the hell is Gamora? And that's when Star-Lord starts putting it together, and he starts like punching the shit out of Thanos,
Yeah.
and that's when
knocking him out of the fucking mind meld.
Yeah, so Mantis gets knocked off, and then he gets his glove back, and it's like, good job, Star-Lord!
Vormir is the name of that planet.
Vorm! Okay, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, good job, Star-Lord.
Yeah, so he got a lot of flack for that in real life, which is like, come on, you guys.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Seriously. It was gonna happen anyway, shut up.
Can we briefly mention the badassity that is Doctor Strange? Who is just doing some Naruto shit up in this movie?
So he's full on Sorcerer Supreme. He's in full control of his powers.
Yeah.
He's got
people liked him in this movie more than his own movie.
Yeah, well he did more.
Yeah. He was badass. I really enjoyed him in this film. So and him and Tony Stark's little ego trip they had going back and forth.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Very appropriate.
Yeah. The having two arrogant characters clashing is very fun.
Yeah.
In that movie. I mean, he's got this weird butterfly effect thing going on. He's got the multi-clones, the multi-whip thing, and a bunch of other weird things that you haven't seen him do before, which is
badass.
Yeah, pretty cool.
If the badassery didn't last that long.
No.
But we have an epic battle with Thanos throwing a moon at Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And really, really good. And the whole team's pretty much fucked, and I think Tony Stark's the only one left.
For the eagle eyes, if you watch, whenever Thanos uses his stones in the gauntlet, a specific stone will light up. He's using two stones to take that moon down. He's using the space and the one of the other stones. I think the power one. You see two stones light up for him to take that moon down. So
details!
Little details.
Details! What were we saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all about the details in these fucking movies because people give a shit!
It's the layering. It's the layering of things. It's not just, hey, this is the only thing that's happening. It's like, you got to throw a little bit of extra in there to kind of keep people coming back to it. And that's what the Marvel movies tend to do really well.
As Deadpool always says, maximum effort.
Yes.
But yeah, Iron Man's basically the last one going one-on-one with Thanos. And I really love how that really long, ridiculous action, drawn-out sequence, and yet he still jobs. And then he just gets a little tiny cut. Thanos gets a little tiny cut, and he goes, all that just for a little ounce of blood.
Yeah, Tony gets stabbed.
Yeah, he gets
and it looks like he's gonna die, and then Thanos delivers my favorite line from the trailer. I hope they remember you.
Yeah.
I love that fucking line. Anyway, so he...
Strange barters, basically.
Yeah.
I've come to barter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I've come to bargain. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And another little side note too, Spider-Man is way outclassed here. He cannot fight Thanos toe to toe. So what do you see him do? He's rescuing the people that get thrown aside.
Yeah. He's trying.
Yeah.
He's officially been made an Avenger.
Yeah.
So he's gonna kill he's gonna kill Tony, and Strange gives him the stone.
Yeah.
And Thanos says, "Okay, peace. See y'all later." Mm-hmm. And he pops off to Earth, and Tony looks at Strange, because the whole thing with Strange was like, if it comes down to you or me and this stone, it's gonna be the stone.
Right.
The stone, it's not leaving me. I'm not gonna, sacrifice the stone for any of you. Basically saying, you guys are fucked. If you're gonna die and I have to choose between letting you live or keeping the stone safe, you're gonna die. It's basically what he's saying. And so out of nowhere, he just gives him the stone. And Tony's like, why did you do that? And Doctor Strange is like, there was no other way.
Yeah, there was no other way. This is the end game.
I really like how they visually did him plucking the stone out. Because you see Doctor Strange just kind of hold his hands out. And it's a podcast, you're not going to see me do this, but when you watch the movie again, the way he plucks it out of just like a tiny speck in the air, and it's like it's a star at the distance that somehow now ends up in his fingertips. Just the visuals of how they play that. Pretty cool.
Again, pulling elements from the Doctor Strange film, which had really interesting visuals that we hadn't seen before, and just using that mysticism to the story's credit. Again, tone, making every character feel like they were still in their own universe while being part of the shared universe.
Yeah. Right. Now, didn't you guys have a theory that it wasn't just Doctor Strange finally showing emotion to Tony Stark and he wanted to save him all of a sudden? But didn't you guys have a theory that this was the only way? He had to give Thanos the stone because you have that one possibility
of him winning.
Right, so
winning.
maybe the one possibility was they had to lose
Yeah.
to win later.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So that is the theory.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's interesting if that's true.
Yeah.
If that's what happens.
Yeah, at this point, it's the only way that, it's the
So
only
I
way that
think
makes sense.
now back in Wakanda, the Avengers are kind of holding their own with the Wakandans, right? They kind of fuck up his minions. Thor, Stormbreaker shows up. He's the MVP.
So
fucks up ships.
They have this giant shield
Yeah.
surrounding Wakanda, but they...
Wakanda with their magical vibranium that can do anything the story needs them to do in that moment.
Yes, and they've got the Thanos' minions are like these generic
Dog things.
creatures
Yeah.
that I don't know why he has them, where they come from. It doesn't matter. They're literally cannon fodder.
Yeah.
They literally have no
They're just
purpose
his minion
other than to
army.
be the baddies
Yeah.
to give everybody a hard time while he comes and takes over, I suppose.
Yeah.
But you see some really cool action there too.
Yes.
War Machine shows up. You got Bucky going. You got
Bucky picking up Rocket Raccoon,
yeah,
spinning around,
using him as an extra
guns.
gun.
Yeah.
But there's another little scene there with Black Panther and Cap running towards the enemy,
Yeah.
kind of making it their own little, hey, who's faster here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Black Panther won that, by the way.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
There's no debate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even War Machine and
Falcon.
Falcon have
Yeah.
a nice little back and forth because they're both military guys, obviously.
And both black.
Well, I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah, they had like their own nice little banter in the air and doing their own thing and all that. Really entertaining fight sequence.
Yeah.
And
Black Panther's sister almost is getting the stone out,
From Vision's head.
but
Yeah.
she fails.
yeah,
And then Scarlet Witch also jumps into the fray with Okoye, Black Panther's general,
Oh yeah,
and
Right.
they had a little 2-on-1 fight. for
and
a
Black
little bit
Widow.
there. Yeah.
And there's a little girl fight between them and Proxima Midnight, which was also pretty cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
That they gave that screen time was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then one of Okoye's best lines is when Scarlet Witch comes in and wrecks the army. Okoye goes, "Why did you keep her in the tower?" Something to that effect.
yeah,
She could have helped us earlier.
whole time.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was funny.
Yeah.
Why is she in the tower the whole time?
Yeah.
yeah.
That was funny.
So all that's going on, and suddenly everybody starts to get their ass kicked.
Yeah, because Thanos, the MVP, Thor, shows up with the Stormbreaker.
But everybody was
Yeah.
starting to get their ass kicked, and it was
Yeah.
starting to look kind of hopeless. Oh, Banner's been in the Hulkbuster this whole
Oh, yeah.
film, by the way.
Yeah.
This whole time, he's been in there because Hulk will not come out to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Banner, not wanting to be useless, actually is in the Hulkbuster fighting this whole time. But even he's starting to get
Quick.
his-
Quick tangent on that. So, the Russos, they pulled a fast one on us with the early Avengers Infinity War trailers, and they show Hulk doing the hero run with the rest of the Avengers.
Right.
You never see that in the Infinity War movie.
Yeah.
And everyone expected, because it came out, I think, in the Lego toy, where you have Banner in the Hulkbuster being overwhelmed by all these dog soldier cannon fodder creatures, and you totally expect him to Hulk out and become Hulk there. Nope, never happens.
No?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I feel like
It makes sense.
I feel like Thor Ragnarok was the first time we ever saw Hulk as a fully realized character, and
With Hulk butt.
yes, absolutely Hulk butt with the little beads, the giant beads
Yeah.
that he wore. But to have that for an entire film, and then to have that we got to know in almost an entirety of the film, because Banner did show up in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
It's just Hulk was there more.
Yeah.
And then to have him flat out refuse, for whatever reason, but refuse, I thought that was an interesting thing that we hadn't seen before, where we had always relied on Banner to turn into the Hulk.
And save the
But
day.
now he actually had to do it himself,
Yep.
even though he had the armor, but what else was he going to do? He couldn't do anything else. If Hulk was not going to come out and fight, what else was Banner going to do? So I thought that was an interesting element. I was fine with Hulk not showing up in the film.
But then the man. The
Yeah,
myth, the
which
legend.
was the second time, because everybody was starting to get their asses kicked, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you start to hear the thunder and all that,
Yep.
and you see the lightning, and the audience went absolutely insane again, And you get the Avengers theme swelling up and all that.
The heroic team run.
Yes.
Groot's running and fighting.
Yeah.
But when I was mentioning the man, I was talking about Thanos.
Ah.
Then he arrives and basically just punks everyone.
Any momentum they had.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Never mind.
Everyone got punked. Cap got punked. He had his moment, but he got punked. And then Scarlet Witch destroys the stone.
Well, you have this really... So basically, it's done.
Vision stone.
It's done. They could not get the Mind Stone out of Vision. They know at this point there's no other way to stop Thanos. The only thing they can do is to destroy the stone so that he cannot get all the stones for his gauntlet. And you have this, again, another really powerful scene with really great swelling of the music with Alan Silvestri, where Scarlet Witch, who at this point, she's been through a lot. You know, she had her brother in Age of Ultron
killed.
The only family she had left whom you could tell they had a relation. They were really, really close, even though you didn't get a lot of screen time with them. But just from their performances, and her performance in particular, when Quicksilver died, and again, this is a testament to Elizabeth Olsen as an actress, she gave a really great performance when he died.
Oh, yeah.
It was really strong. And
minus the coming and going accent.
That
yeah.
we're gonna you know what, if Halle Berry can get away with it and then just drop it all together by X2, it's fine. But yeah. I mean, technically, shouldn't Scarlett Johansson have a Russian accent? But anyway,
yes.
It doesn't matter. So yeah, at this point, she's been through a lot. You know, in Civil War, she was dealing with what she had done as when she worked with Quicksilver and what they did in their hand in Age of Ultron, and then she was dealing with the after effects of accidentally
killing a bunch of innocents.
Yeah, so she was dealing with a lot in Civil War, and she had to come to terms with who she was and what she was capable of, and separating from the Avengers and all that. And so by this point, she's finally got kind of a little bit of a normal life going on with Vision and all that. She's happy, blah, blah, blah. So what happens? She has to turn around and kill this guy that she's fallen in love with, she's developed this relationship with. And it's this really crazy strong scene and really emotional scene where she's got the one hand where she's trying to rip the stone out of Vision, which is going to kill him. And at the same time, she's using her other hand to hold back Thanos. Now think about that. Think about how strong she has to be. Yeah. And she's like pretty much succeeding in holding Thanos back this whole time. And she's like, you know, crying and all that. And Vision's like, you know, it's okay, it has to be you. And then he, at one point before he dies, he goes, I love you, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And then rips the stone out, Vision's dead, and, oh God.
I think she actually shatters the stone. I think she rips it.
That's right, that's true. Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos is the one that rips it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the stone shatters, Vision's dead. Does he blow up?
Yeah, he blows up.
Okay, so he blows up, and she's like just in...
I thought he just goes white and falls over.
No,
there's an explosion.
Yeah, he explodes at
It's
first.
been a while.
Yeah.
So she's like in a crumpled pile on the ground, just like, you know, not sobbing, but just you know, crying a bit, not like weeping or anything. And Thanos comes up and he says something to her, and he uses his time stone and undoes everything that's been done. And after this giant emotional, like musical, like swelling scene and all that, he just walks up and goes, yoink, and it's like, it's quiet, and it's just like, it was kind of like this, oh my God.
And
like
that's
this,
where Vision turns white, because he's...
and he just
not,
dies,
yeah.
just like falls to the ground like
Ghost.
a lump of lead. And it was almost like, which scene was more emotional? It was almost like you had this super emotional, and then just like, oh my guts. My heart just dropped.
And I guess some people forgot about the time stone, because I remember you were telling me there were people at work who were like, I didn't understand that.
Somebody at work.
If you hadn't seen Doctor Strange, you wouldn't have known.
But even though
they
went over
yeah.
what the stones did in the film, but
they didn't really show it visually.
He didn't understand why all of a sudden Thanos could time travel, and I'm like, he had the time stone.
Yeah.
That's why
they didn't visually show it in the Infinity War movie
Right.
until that scene, so I can understand why.
Right. But I think they at least explained.
Yeah, they explained it, but they
what
didn't show
they were.
it visually.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, that happens. Thanos basically gets stabbed in the chest by the Stormbreaker from Thor.
Yeah, so Thor swoops in.
Yeah. Great scene.
Yeah. Big heroic swing of his hammer axe. And huge, massive chest wound in Thanos. And Thor goes in for the revenge, one-liner about this is what happens to people who mess with Asgard or something like that. And then Thanos comes back with...
He goes, next time, aim for the head. That was great.
So
something like that.
It wasn't a kill shot.
Yeah.
And
that was great.
Snaps the fingers.
Snaps his fingers. Okay.
And at first nothing really happens, but he like goes into the
He teleports out of there.
Well, he goes into the, what is it, is it inside the
Soul World,
the Soul Stone at that point? Whatever
really
realm that the Soul Stone inhabits or
He
whatever.
escapes.
Well, he's in the Soul Stone because he's in that section. You see little kid Gamora.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's got her back turned, and he walks up, and she turns around, and she's like, "Did you do it?" And he goes, "Yes." And she said, "What did it cost?"
Right.
And he goes, "Everything." And then, bam, he's out of it, and the gauntlet's all fucked up now.
Right.
And then
Thor's like, "What did you do?"
Yeah.
What did you do?
And then he teleports out of there.
Right. And then everyone starts disappearing.
And just
cornflakes everywhere.
Black cornflakes suddenly, and I love the effects of everybody literally just turning into ashes and blowing away. And you have this,
and there was like no music.
there was
And
no,
which made that scene feel unsettling.
it was so unsettling.
Yeah.
I think you had some like I don't know if there was like thunder going on at one point.
Maybe.
Like it was just like noise, but like it was all background noise, but nothing like loud.
Not even sad music.
No, it was really, it was yeah. And
the last shot was Cap.
well, then you had them on the planet, you had them on Titan, and you had you had people starting to disappear there.
Oh,
so we lose Drax, we lose Mantis, we lose Star-Lord, and obviously
Strange.
Strange,
And Spider-Man.
and then the last one to go, obviously.
Spider-Man got everyone, man.
Yeah. And he lasted the longest. Now, could you argue that it was the suit that kept him? Because he took forever to disappear.
Well, they said that him and Mantis were the only ones who kind of knew something was really wrong. Because they have those kind of precognitive powers.
Okay.
So he felt it coming before he dusted. So him and Mantis supposedly were the only ones who kind of knew that something was really wrong.
It just took him forever
as
opposed to everybody else. Cause
everyone else was kind of fighting it. I mean, no, he was the only one who was fighting it.
Okay.
So
everyone else
freaking out in Tony Stark's arms.
Yeah.
Tony Stark's freaking out because he's like, "Fuck, this is what I regret. I regretted
bringing him in,
and now Spider-Man's dying in my arms."
Yeah.
Yeah.
His son, sort of.
Yeah.
His little surrogate.
His little ward.
Yeah.
And the guy, this is a great story. The guy next to me, we were in the theater watching that scene. It's the second time we saw a movie already. And the guy sitting next to me was kind of like, was quiet. The whole theater was, both times we saw the film, the whole theater was very quiet when people started to float away. But the guy next to me, right when it got to Peter Parker, and he died and slowly started to float away, the guy next to me was quiet the whole movie, but when he saw Peter Parker float away, the guy next to me was like, "What the fuck?" Like, that's the death that got him the most. He was just tripping the fuck out. He was like, "What the fuck? Is this actually happening?"
So back on Earth, people don't really know what's going on at this point.
Right.
And there's so many Wakandans that disappear,
including Black Panther.
Black Panther disappears, and his general, what's her name?
No, she's alive.
No, what's her name? Because she's looking.
Yeah, she's looking for him.
And she
doesn't find him.
Yeah, and she's just like freaking out because she can't find him, and we end up losing Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
We lose Bucky.
Yep.
We lose Sam.
Yep.
And we lose Groot, obviously, who has his little I am Groot, but Rocket's still around. We still got Black Widow.
Yep.
And
we have the original Avengers team all still there.
Right, so Thor's still around, and we still have Banner, and...
I'm surprised we still have Rhodey.
Well, we all know why we...
Oh.
We couldn't let them all go now, could we? That would be very PC.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we had Rhodey and Hulk. You know, there's something to be said for blowing all of your CG wad on the big budget shit, because goddamn,
It did look bad.
Rhodey head and Banner head in Hulkbuster
Yeah.
looked fucking awful. We're talking like the end. We're
War
talking about
Machine.
and War Machine. We're talking about like Black Panther bad CGI.
This is the major critique I have now with Marvel movies is characters that are in costume where it's just their head floating around. It doesn't look like they're wearing a costume anymore.
Yeah. It's just a head floating around in bad CGI, which it was such a great set of scenes that we had that I was like, don't look at it, because it looks terrible and it's going to detract from everything. So I can kind of like blank it out, but if you look at it,
It's not as bad as Mustache in Justice League.
Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Superman mustache.
Oh my God.
But it is noticeable for people who have seen a lot of movies.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so the last image we get before we go back to Thanos and the conclusion of the film is Cap sitting there with the ashes, and they're like, did we just lose or something like that? And his last words are like, oh my God, and it's like, Jesus, this is my ending. Like, this is my kind of ending for a film. Just devastation, tragedy, just absolute, oh my God, where do we go from here? And then, of course, we have the end scene with Thanos where all he wanted was to do what he did and then kind of go home and retire and just sit on his little porch and watch the sunrise.
Yep, and that's what he did.
And that's exactly what he did.
And the movie went straight to black.
And this great scene where he sits there and he just looks like, I finally did it. And the music again, the fucking music just comes up, and this really ominous theme that was created for the film is playing, and it just keeps going. And then you start seeing the cast, and then Avengers Infinity War comes up, and then the title sequence floats off like ash. And it's like, Jesus! And it was so funny because this was the last thing I remember in the theater.
The theater, both times on it, was
the theater.
quiet.
So okay. So the first time we saw the movie, obviously,
It was glorious.
People were cheering at certain opportune moments, and when the screen faded out after Thanos had done what he did, and the screen fades out from Thanos' face, I started clapping. Like, I was just like, yes! And I didn't like verbally say yes, but I started clapping like I was just so happy, and everybody was just kind of like, and then they stopped. Like, they didn't know what to do. They were so just like stunned at what happened.
For the first time, the bad guy won.
Yeah.
Like, totally.
And it was
How many
brilliant.
movies ever does the bad guy win?
It's rare.
It's almost never.
Not counting horror films.
It's
Right.
very
It's
rare.
rare.
I mean, Empire.
Is the closest you have.
thing. Yeah, and the Two Towers is the most ominous of the three because the ending is just so uncertain.
Yeah.
But nobody's really won.
Yeah, there wasn't a decisive
you had
full victory.
You had the Battle of Helm's Deep where
Yeah.
the good guys won,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But it was just but Gollum's
But there's still
gone.
more coming.
Yeah, Gollum's gone back to being Gollum, and you don't know what he's going to do with the hobbits, and you
Right.
still know that the evil's still out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was just
It
like
is rare.
yeah, this one was just like such my kind of a film. It was my kind of an ending, and I was so happy because it gave me everything that I wanted in terms of just like devastation, impactful loss. Even though I know that a lot of it's going to come back, a lot of things are going to be undone in Endgame. I'm still happy that it went the way it did.
Yeah, fantastic. Smashing.
And we haven't even talked about the little stinger of the end with Nick Fury and Maria Hill
Yes.
driving through the city, seeing things falling apart because people are dusting. And they also dust in the process. And then there comes a little Captain Marvel teaser with the pager that he uses to summon her in some way or form, which we don't know fully yet.
Which I thought was what was really funny, and they did exactly what I wanted them to do, was because Samuel L. Jackson has a reputation of being a potty mouth In his films, they did what I knew that I was hoping they were going to do it, and right before he fades away, he goes, and fades, and goes to ash before he can say fucker. And I was like, thank you. You guys know what I want.
Yep.
You guys know your audience. You guys know your actors. But anyway.
And, we'll see what happens with Miss Marvel's film. The 2 trailers that we've seen already, I'm fine.
The trailers,
I don't hate it.
They look very promising.
Yeah.
I think, and I've said this so many times before, Guardians opened up a whole other branch for Marvel.
The cosmic universe.
Yeah, and people can do whatever they want now.
Yeah.
And Thor Ragnarok kind of solidified that, if Guardians can do it and then Thor can do it, fuck it. Do whatever you want at this point.
Yeah.
And as long as it's written well, just don't shove the girl power down our throats, please. Yeah. Make her a good character. Don't make her a badass woman. Make her a good character, and I'll be fine.
There are points in the development of the MCU where the development of the overall story takes a major turn. Guardians is one, because you have these characters that come out of nowhere and become big, important characters. Mm-hmm. And then I would arguably say Ragnarok is the other, because you have this injection of comedy and then certain things that just completely change other parts of the MCU up to that point, as far as the way they portray the internet connection of the universe.
And taking a franchise that was in just one monotone direction.
Right.
And totally just oh, never mind, we're going to do this, and blending it so beautifully.
Yeah. So those 2 movies, to me, seem to have changed the direction of the MCU in a good way. But now there's a huge gaping, who knows what's going to happen next with this next one, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, I'm all for bringing us more of the cosmic universe.
Yeah.
I love that shot of her flying in space. She's taking out fucking ships. The Skrulls look cool.
Yeah.
So, I'm very interested. I will definitely check it out. It does not look bad to me. No. I know a lot of people are like, meh, because they don't care. But as long as it's an entertaining movie, just to bring her character in, and then hopefully, I'm assuming we're probably going to see her fight against Thanos in the next Avengers film, I'm all for it. So, as long as it's good, as long as it doesn't suck, as long as it's entertaining.
There's got to be some version of Thanos that shows up to connect the 2, I think. I mean, how they'll bring in the elements of those 2 movies that I just mentioned, Guardians and Ragnarok.
Yeah.
There's elements of comedy, there's elements of that kind of pop music, and also a new character out of nowhere that you're supposed to care for, that you now care for. I'm wondering how they'll do that with Captain Marvel. It doesn't sound like they'll fail, but I'm wondering how they'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to wait and find out and see and keep our fingers crossed that it's entertaining. Now, let's briefly go through Deadpool 2 and...
you want to talk about...
Should we do Ant-Man?
Ant-Man first, because it's still within the same universe, at least.
Yeah. I thought Deadpool 2 came out at...
well, it's not that. It's just if we want to connect, because Deadpool
That's
2...
fine. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
It's not a direct connection.
Let's jump into Ant-Man and the Wasp.
It makes more sense. So we didn't...
Before we watched it, this is our first Marvel film we didn't get a chance to see in theater, right?
Yeah, we intended to see it, and we just did not. We couldn't get
life.
We just couldn't get around to it, and by the time we might have had a chance, it was kind of like, meh. Do we really? We just weren't in the mood.
Yeah. We'll just buy it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, so we just bought it, and we just recently, we literally 2 days ago.
Yeah.
A day and a half. Yesterday? Did we watch it yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh shit, we did watch it yesterday. Ha! So, the first Ant-Man.
Fun.
First time we saw it in the theater, I probably gave it a little bit higher than I should have.
Yeah.
Because when I watched it again, I still enjoyed it. But, it's got... Okay, so for me, the Ant-Man films at this point, I feel like, and I guess you could lump maybe Age of Ultron and maybe even unrelated X-Men Apocalypse in with this. Parts of the film are really great. The movies themselves are just fine. Like, there are parts that are just like, oh, I love this part, I love this part. The same thing with Deadpool 2, I guess I could say at this point. But the movie itself is just fine. But some things, like, I absolutely love. Like, anytime you've got the miniatures... like the miniature stuff or the gigantic stuff, which is just fun. I'm all over that, and that's something that we were talking about with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
It's a fun little heist, personal story, and that's what you liked about this sequel. Was that it still stayed a small little personal story. And didn't try to be all big.
I feel like, you know, if you're gonna be a B team film, which I feel like Ant-Man is, you need to stay within your B team story. Don't have an end of the world story like Thor: The Dark World tried to have this massive thing happen in England where these ships were, the Dark Elf ships were invading Earth, and it's like, I don't know about that, because we've already established the Avengers at this point.
Right.
So this, I felt, it was more of a personal story.
It knew its place.
Yeah, you find out that Hank's wife is still possibly alive in the
quantum realm.
And so they devise this machine through technobabble gobbledygook, and they build a tunnel. They build a tunnel to go into the quantum realm and extract her. Well, in the meantime, you've got this whole, what isn't it, Walton Goggins?
Yep.
He shows up, and he's like this. He's not in any way a main antagonist or anything. He's just like this side character that gives them grief throughout the whole film. I thought it was fine. I thought the whole Ghost character, she kind of seemed like a baddie, but then she really wasn't. I kind of liked that, because your problem initially was that you'd rather have the generic villain, but at least he's a villain, like from the first Ant-Man.
Yeah, I understand. The movie's fine. I thought it was fun. Mm-hmm. I kind of like the first Ant-Man better. Mm-hmm. But your reasonings behind why you like the, you know, which you're going to go into more detail after I'm done yapping here, for why you were okay with the villains was fine. Me, when the movie was over, I was like, there was no villain to this film. I just found it to be odd.
Uh-huh.
She wasn't a full-on villain.
No.
She did kind of questionable things, but she wasn't a full-on. I'm going to kill everyone or destroy the world.
And Fishburne wasn't the villain.
No.
And Goggins was just evil businessman.
He was just a pest.
Yeah.
But I was, for some reason, I was fine with it.
It didn't ruin the movie. I thought it was odd.
So I think the reason I was okay with it is because if you can't, which this movie does not deserve a massive, amazing depth baddie.
Right.
This is not the type of film that needs something like that. So if you're not gonna, if you can't do that, which you shouldn't try, your only alternative is a generic bad guy like we got in the first film, which I was like, I didn't want that again.
Right.
So if you're gonna shift that and you're gonna give us more
that makes sense.
Gray area, ambiguous, not really evil, but not doing the greatest things in the world, I would rather go that way and then focus more on the whole getting Michelle Pfeiffer back. And can I just say that Marvel, your de-aging technology has hit perfection, because oh my god, Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas looked amazing in their de-aging in this. That was creepy.
And they're only getting better at it because Nick Fury, young in Captain Marvel trailer, holy crap.
I don't...
Wow.
They just, every time, you know, it was dodgy at first. You know, they did the aging up with Peggy Carter in...
it wasn't done well.
No, it wasn't. And I didn't understand why they did it, because why don't you just put her... It's like they had her in makeup, but then they CG'd it, and it didn't... It's like, why did you do that? Did it look that bad? With just the... But anyway... and then they did it in Civil War, and it with Robert Downey Jr., and it was almost there, but it looked a little waxy.
Yeah.
But ever since then, it's just been... It's like, holy shit. And it's just... That was downright creepy. Michelle Pfeiffer looked like 1992 Catwoman in Batman Returns. Like, she looked amazing.
She was in Witches of Eastwick, right?
Yeah.
She looked just like her.
Yeah, you know. But I thought, and you know, watching the first movie again, I thought Michael Douglas, because of the nature of his character, where he was doing a lot of speaking over action sequences where Paul Rudd was training.
Yeah.
Michael Douglas sounded like he was phoning it in a lot, so I didn't feel like his performance was all that great compared to some of the other characters. Like Glenn Close was always... Glenn Close has been good. Anthony Hopkins has been good. All the old veterans that have come in, they've all done a great job. Yeah. But I felt like in this one, Michael Douglas was actually on board this time. Like, I felt his performance...
It seemed like he was having fun with the role.
It seemed like he got it this time.
Yeah,
like, he was a little more like, okay, I get it now. It's you know...
Yeah.
So I liked that. I kind of, it's a little cheesy, but I kind of liked that Paul Rudd and the family was like all happy, like the wife and the new husband, like they were like all huggy and supportive. I like that because it gets old with the whole ex-wife who's always badgering him with the husband who's like, you're a loser, you know, Scott, and blah blah blah. Because we had that enough in the first film, but now because they've been through all this shit, they're like all, you can do it and blah blah. I kind of liked it. I like the relationship between Scott and his daughter. It seems genuine and sweet.
There are things that Marvel's doing with some of these movies that kind of tweak their formula a little bit, and not too much to stay out of the formula completely, but stuff like the ex being like a friendly ex is like, how often do you see that in movies?
Yeah. So I appreciated that. It was a nice touch.
Action sequences, what do you think? They're solid.
It's
we needed more miniature stuff.
Yeah. Ant-Man is not an action-heavy franchise.
Yeah, I know.
The scenes that they play for comedy with him kind of not really in full control of his size, they worked as far as comedy goes. And then like him like surfing or skating.
That was the best part of the movie.
That was awesome.
I needed more of that.
Yeah.
We needed more of him surfing on the truck.
More Pez dispenser, giant Pez dispensers, and I love the little car case that they had. It was like a little Hot Wheels case, literally, and that's where their cars were kept. I like the miniatures and the large. I love all that stuff.
I'd love that end credit sequence with just the miniatures they use. That are CG'd.
That was cool.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's like replaying the movie in miniature toy form.
Yeah, that was really cute.
What did you think of the Wasp?
I buy her as a potential action star. Like, people don't love the Hobbit movies and her role in them. I still think she is convincing enough as an action star. Should she have her own movie? I don't know if she's that yet.
No.
But I still think
I would not go see a Wasp movie.
Yeah. I still think she's credible as an action type star.
Yeah, she's fine. She's fine for the Wasp.
Yeah.
She was getting on my nerves a little bit though. In the beginning, she was kind of getting on my nerves.
She comes
just
across
a little bit.
A little more.
Only because, like for example, he's like telling her why he was gone and what he was doing and why it was important. I know they were mad at Scott Lang for stealing the suit
and going off
to fight with Cap and them.
Then they got in trouble.
And then they got all. I get all that. I understand that. But you know he was trying to help. He was trying to do good. None of them stopped and went, oh shit, he's actually trying to do good things. They were just like, oh, you're mad, now we're fucked, and now we have to be in hiding forever. But he was out trying to do good.
I think
he wasn't stealing the suit to steal money or do shady shit.
Yeah, I think part of her little beef.
And she's all like, Cap?
Yeah.
You call him Cap?
I think part of her little beef with him though is she wasn't included.
I think that's what it was.
She did come out and say, if you had called me,
you wouldn't have gotten in jail.
You wouldn't have gotten caught. Yeah. That's what she had said.
Yeah.
Proceeds to immediately get caught after that.
Right.
So it's like, okay. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, and luckily they
didn't last long.
Yeah, they didn't go too long on that.
It's just one of those. There's got to be a conflict somewhere, so start with that.
Yeah, you got to start over with.
Yeah, but don't torture someone if you would do the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Phat Samurai Guy, angry rant on Ant-Man and the Wasp. First movie I still like better though.
First movie.
The train set sequence, man.
Yeah. Well, that and the standout performance of Michael Pena.
He had mentioned, he agrees with you on that.
Yeah.
Michael Pena was hilarious in that first movie.
Yeah. Super hilarious.
This movie, it was like just forced comedy.
Yeah.
Some stuff was funny.
Yeah. He's in it. He's still doing his fast talking thing, but there was a lot less of him in it. So that's where you started to lose some of that magic.
Yeah. When he had that one scene where he was doing what he did in the first movie.
Yeah.
Recapping shit.
Yeah.
Then it was kind of like, okay, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
A lot of it was forced.
Yeah. That's part of the magic of the first Ant-Man movie that they kind of missed out on more of that in the second one.
And it kind of makes you wonder, was the good moments and good parts of the movie that we liked, was that what you call, or this new director? Was that Edgar Wright? Or Edgar Wright didn't really do anything before they started filming?
He wrote.
He wrote, I think, the majority of Ant-Man 1.
Okay.
But the new director, Peyton Reed, I think. I don't know where the blend starts happening and where it's a new direction.
Okay.
I'm guessing anything that ties more directly into the MCU is probably with Peyton Reed coming in, because Edgar Wright, if I remember correctly, part of his breaking off was having to tie too much into the MCU.
Yeah, they wanted more of the formula.
Yeah.
And he had his own ideas,
Yeah.
which would have been interesting, but we'll never know.
I would guess, and this is just speculation, I would guess Edgar Wright, for Ant-Man 1, probably didn't want Yellow Jacket to be the villain.
Yeah.
He probably wanted someone who was not the dark mirror image of the hero.
Patrick Wilson.
Oh, what?
He was supposed to be Yellow Jacket originally. Yeah, so I don't know what happened, why he chose not to. But he is now Ocean Master, so it's all good. Orm. But yeah, so they rescue Michelle Pfeiffer from the quantum realm. She miraculously heals Ghost.
Which, I was a little confused by that, because at the end credit sequence, Scott is going into the quantum realm again to get particles, and they say specifically for their new ghost friend.
So maybe that was a temporary.
So yeah,
healing?
maybe she still needs. We'll never know.
She
I mean,
needs
we
to
may not
fade.
know until later. I don't know.
It might be like she needs continual treatment, so maybe he needs to
Possibly.
get some more,
So,
or something like that.
but yeah, there's not really much to talk about plot wise.
Ghost runs off with Fishbird.
The Ant-Man and the Wasp movie is not fully consequential to the rest of the MCU. That's the quick version of that.
Even though the scene in the end credits was the best part of the film.
It's literally just an
Mid-credits.
aftermath of dealing with Civil War,
Yeah.
which is very little. Having a more of a reintroduction to Scott's character, just to get to know him. It's like, oh yeah, he's still here.
And building up the Wasp more.
Building up the Wasp more, and then showing what happens at the end, which ties into Infinity War, which I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Like when, okay, so again, the plot is not even worth. It's not. There's nothing to it. We've basically gone over a lot of the talking points of the whole thing. So end credits, you get the little miniatures and the cast and all that. Cut to Scott in the quantum realm. You've got Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, and Evangeline Lilly out there talking to him from the real world, or from Earth, and he's in the quantum realm. And they're talking to each other back and forth, and so he gets the particles, and all of a sudden, their voices disappear.
Not responding to him.
Yeah, and he can't get back out. He's stuck in the realm. He's like, guys, are you there? And so cut camera back to where they were all standing on a building top on Earth, and you see all these ashes floating away, and I was like, thank you.
Like a turd in the wind.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Ruined it.
If you would like to know what we thought about Venom, please watch our review. It's fun.
Oh,
Anyway.
don't watch the movie.
Yeah, that was great. Just nothing but black ash.
But that's what I was hoping for, because
Yeah.
if you're going to tie into everything,
Right.
yeah, what's going on? And so, obviously, in the trailer for Endgame, you see somehow Scott makes it out of the realm, because he's at Cap's door with,
Right.
But
now
anyway.
we did film a trailer reaction review for the Avengers Endgame teaser that we didn't know was a teaser.
Well, they're calling it a trailer,
Yeah.
even though to us it was a teaser.
But we're not going to upload it because there's really nothing to react to.
It was terrible.
And it was just kind of like...
The video.
So we're
was-
just...
the
Yeah,
video
it's
was-
just like we're just going to briefly talk about
The
it.
video was not
Because
good.
the teaser didn't really show anything.
Not enough meat on the bone for
No.
that trailer.
Yeah, not enough meat on the bone to do a video and upload it.
Yeah, it's.
But we'll briefly talk about it here.
Yeah, and it's okay. So essentially, the trailer, giant air quotation marks as they're calling it, it's literally just you've got Tony Stark talking to his helmet, trying to transmit either leave a message for Pepper or maybe hopefully transmit it and it'll get to her. He's basically dying. He's stuck in this spaceship.
We don't know how he got there.
He's
what
got
happened.
no food. He's got
Yeah.
no water, and he's basically like, look,
What was he the only one who survived?
It was him and what's it called still left on the planet.
Oh, Nebula.
Nebula's
Yeah, so
still
yeah, it was
there.
the only them two.
Yeah, so
left.
we don't know what happened to Nebula.
Yeah.
right.
They
So-
show her in the teaser though.
I'm just saying they were together.
Yeah,
so
they
we
were
don't
on the
know.
same planet.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened with all that. So you got that. You've got, you've just got shots of not everybody who survived, but a lot of the survivors, mostly Cap and Black Widow. And jump in if I'm missing anything.
Hawkeye, we're assuming because of his family's, we're assuming his family's dead.
Right.
Due to the Thanos pip slap. Okay, with the gauntlet.
The snapping.
The snapping.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So now he's gone dark, and he is the Ronin character. We're assuming he's Ronin,
Yeah.
going into hiding, basically, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, in disguise.
Or doing whatever. Who knows what's at this point. We don't know. And that's the thing about this trailer. We literally don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Which it's an interesting approach. I don't think much of the trailer. I'm not gonna beat around.
It barely showed.
I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm not. There's nothing to be impressed with the trailer.
Yeah.
It's literally just character scenes. It's very dark. It's very grim, as was the ending of Infinity War. And so I don't really have... There's nothing really to say about it. It looks like it's just a lot of aftermath and a lot of what the fuck do we do now? And even Cap, Obviously, they're trying to devise a plan. At one point, Black Widow said this is going to work. And Cap goes, it has to because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do if it doesn't.
Right.
And... that's probably going to be the tone for the majority of the film. You see Thanos at one point, he's on his little farm with his little Thanos scarecrow, whatever the hell he's done.
The helmet.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And, but, and the thing is...
But we're,
when
I was
Infinity
saying
War,
before, we're in good hands.
Yeah, okay, when Infinity War came
With the
out,
Russo brothers.
you've also got to remember, when Infinity War came out, the MCU, we had Age of Ultron in, 2015? And things weren't as tight yet. Things were just starting to tighten up in terms of the stories interlocking together. Things were still kind of spread out. By the time Infinity War came out, things were starting to come together. So when that trailer for Infinity War first came out, that was a hard-hitting trailer. It was showing the war. It was showing Thanos for the first time. This second film is...
Even with the fake footage.
Yes. This second film... I would assume is going to be very different tonally and just structurally. It's going to be different than this first film. So It didn't really matter what the trailer showed us. We're all going to go see it. No one's that invested in this franchise is not going to go see this. So it literally, I think I had said it before, that you could just show a still shot of Thanos farm on a tractor and we'd still go see it. It doesn't matter. We're on board. So I don't really have anything to say about it other than what happened in the trailer. There's really nothing to say.
But that trailer will not bring in any new fans just from that trailer alone.
It's true. But at the same time, like we've been discussing, if they're not on board by now...
Yep, then stay the hell away.
It doesn't matter. So it's kind of like, does it even matter what the trailer is at this point? Does it matter? I don't know if it matters what they show.
Well, to us, for the fanboys...
it's throwing a bone.
We wanted to see just a little bit more. But...
It's true.
The next trailer, we'll definitely watch.
Somebody... there was an article online I read just today that made an interesting point that the MCU and the DCEU at this point in time have temporarily at least switched places in that you've got an upcoming huge heavy hitter in Endgame that looks bleak and grim as fuck like a DC movie, and what's the next heavy hitter? Aquaman, which looks like a goddamn Marvel movie.
Super colorful.
So that's a really interesting take on things.
That is interesting.
Which again, I have my fingers crossed for Aquaman. I really do. Yeah. I'm hoping.
I just want to be entertained. Just be fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's a surprise. Yeah. I'm hoping it's a pleasant surprise.
We got a pretty good cast besides Amber Heard, but I'm sure.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I'm sure she won't have that much, I'm sure she won't have a lot of dialogue.
Are you kidding me?
No?
She looks like she has quite a bit of
dialogue. She looks like she's the main chick.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's his love interest.
Yeah.
It'll be, let's get to the next scene dialogue.
She's pretty to look at. Beyond that,
I trust you on that because, frankly, I forget her as soon as she's off screen. I literally cannot remember. I never recognize that woman.
Which I find hilarious because I always tease her. Like, who's that babe? Who's that babe? And she's just like... We were just talking about Amber Heard in another movie because I was teasing her. And then we talked about Justice League and she totally forgot she was in Justice League. It's hilarious.
A small role in Justice League.
It's hilarious.
Not enough to remember
she's
her by.
She's so unremarkable.
Yeah.
Like, I've never...
She's generic hot.
She makes me suffer from facial blindness, which I guess. I guess.
Anyway, Aquaman, we hope, is entertaining. Now, anything else before we move on from the Marvel universe?
You want to talk to
Fox?
Do you want to go to Deadpool, or do you want to talk about the Netflix? Marvel Netflix.
Okay. We'll briefly go through Marvel Netflix.
So everything's been canceled.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks for listening.
It's a matter of time. I know. I think the writing's on the wall for Punisher and Jessica Jones. I think it's. Just
I thought they just finished filming.
They
Jessica
did,
Jones.
but Punisher's wrapped up too. Punisher's on its way, but I think it's safe to say that this is it.
Yeah.
This has to be their last season.
Yeah, it's gonna be it.
I'm disappointed that Daredevil's been canceled only because I felt like where season 2 kind of dropped a lot, season 3, and you haven't seen it yet.
I have not seen
it
yet.
Try not to spoil it anything. Yeah. You know who comes in season 3?
Yeah.
Okay. I already told Bullseye.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I felt like season 3 picked up a lot of the slack that was left by season 2, and I felt like this got us back on track to where everything I loved about season 1, I got it back in season 3, even down to great development for Bullseye. Like his character, it's complicated, it's deep, it's got everything that I wanted. It's more linear, it's more focused.
But you have to warn people that it has less action than season 2.
It does,
Some people thought the season was very slow. It
does, but I was not... You could say that about Punisher. Punisher did not have a ton of action in it. It had its moments. But I'm fine with moments sprinkled throughout as long as the story is engaging. And that's why I love Punisher, the season that we got so far.
I was concerned watching Punisher at first. Because it was slow.
I can understand that.
But there was so much more action and gore and badassery that happened from the mid to the end that I was satisfied with the Punisher. So I enjoyed the Punisher.
Yeah.
But that first half though, I was still liking it. Mm-hmm. But I was still I was concerned. I was like, okay.
The Punisher series, there was so much focus on these other characters where it started to lose me. And then
that's what was happening.
Yeah. And then they brought him back in, like, fine, okay.
Yeah.
It ends fine, but there was so much focus on the one female cop.
Yeah.
That was like, it's too much of that.
Yeah.
A little bit too much.
A little bit too much. They could have lessened it just a little bit.
So
the second season, I expect more action.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know where we're going to go with that whole thing, but really quick back to season 3. So...
Of Daredevil.
Again, you got this really good development with the Bullseye character, and you get this more further development with Fisk, and for the first time, I was never a Karen Page fan. I could take her or leave her. She kind of irritated me, frankly. Started to get around a little bit with her in the Punisher series because she had that weird dynamic with Frank. Her and Frank had a connection in the second season, and they carried that over when she did show up. She was in a couple of episodes of Punisher, not a lot. And they carried over with that, and then now she's back to being solo. Foggy and Matt are still split up in the season 3. So Karen's been doing her own thing this whole time, but Karen actually becomes a fully fledged, contender of a character in this one. She has this moment, I'm not going to give anything away, she has this moment with Fisk at one point that I was just I was glued to the fucking screen, and I could not believe that I was having this experience where I was not only glued because of Vincent D'Onofrio, but I was glued because of her too. And it was like, wow, I've never ever felt this way about this character before because I've never really thought anything about her. She even has this whole episode devoted to her, showing her some of her backstory and all that. and that was a really good episode. So I am disappointed. I have concerns. You know, one of the things that we knew when Disney acquired Marvel was that this was a possibility. We had all kind of hoped that, well, you know, Netflix
because
has been
of
doing
their Disney streaming service.
Well, that when we found out about the Disney streaming service, that was kind of like, oh shit, now we're in trouble because, you know, why?
Yeah.
So my concern was always, why would Disney want a property that's so rated R? This is a mature rated series. All of them are. Everything is. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, if not for violence, for blood, some sexuality.
Iron Fist are?
I think they're all mature rated. I mean, there was some sex, kind of. Not sex, but nothing like... I mean, there's not sex,
Was there gore in Iron Fist? Cursing?
But, I mean, there's violence. There's really no hard cursing. I mean, if you watch any of the shows, nobody ever drops the F-bomb.
Yeah.
Nobody ever drops the F-bomb in these shows.
It's usually violence or sex.
It's always blood, and it's always brutality and all that. But, yeah, so... Why would Disney obtain these properties for a streaming service? They can't do this kind of stuff on their streaming service. And come to find out, their streaming service is going to be devoted to their family-friendly content. So any of the properties that they acquire that are R-rated or anything like that, they can't show on their streaming service.
And they've got supposedly a Loki and a Scarlet Witch and Vision show coming. With some other possibilities there. It's like,
I don't know how any of that's going to work, but something I found out that was interesting is that when they acquired Fox, they acquired Hulu.
Right.
So
they acquired majority stake in Hulu.
Right.
They don't have full Hulu, but they have majority stake.
So I'm wondering if it's going to be like, what is one of their subsidiaries? Is it like Miramax?
Yeah. Was, yeah.
Right, back in the day. So I'm wondering if their shows... not necessarily under the same brand like Daredevil, maybe in some other capacity, if they work out something to where if they continue on with series like that, if it's going to end up on like a Hulu type
I hope so.
Of situation.
Because then they could salvage.
Yeah, they're mature.
Because if you want to keep all those properties which you own, you might as well get money out of them. Because I didn't expect Netflix to be able to hold on to them, and I wouldn't expect them to hold on to them because now it's almost like they're leasing the characters. If they were to continue this on their site, they don't own it anymore. So it's almost like when Universal Studios back in the day used to have X-Men walking around the park. Mm-hmm. They used to have a restaurant and all that. And we'd have the X-Men dressed up characters and all that walking around.
Yeah, the big old Hulk statue.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, they were renting them from...
Wasn't it a Captain America burger with
stuff
American
like that,
cheese?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
Well, they were renting those characters.
The Spider-Man ride in Universal Studios Florida.
Yeah, so they don't own those properties, they rent them. So they got rid of all that because they didn't want to pay for it anymore. So
it's a bunch of big corporations that don't really want to play nice with each other. But they know they can make money with each other, but they don't really want to give up control.
Yeah. Which is amazing that we've gotten as
far
far
as we have
Spider-Man, at least so far.
So we're, as of right now,
everything is canceled.
Everything's eventually
on Netflix.
Yeah.
After Jessica Jones season 3, and Luke Cage Punisher season 2 will be the last two, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, all of these shows will be transferred over to Hulu. I hope.
They're saying
because nobody wants to watch a fucking G-rated Punisher.
It's impossible.
No, you can't.
You can't. It's like
what? No blood. You just have shoe.
That's not family friendly. They're literally Disney is G-rated. Like Disney, when they say family friendly, they literally mean like it might as well just be Disney Channel all over again. I mean, it's like, but I'm just wondering if that's the direction. I hope that's the direction they go because I think there's still a lot of stories that they can tell with all of these characters. I don't give a shit about fucking Iron Fist, but everybody else.
The thing that Disney needs to be able to accept is kids also grow up. Mm-hmm. And with that, the storytelling needs to grow up too. Yes, there's new kids that come also, but adults want adult stories. They don't necessarily want kids' stories. And then kids that become adults, do they look up at kids as their role models? No, they look up as adults as their role models.
Typically.
Yeah, so...
You know what's funny? We have kind of a role reversal with DC. So you have that Teen Titans show that's violent and mature rated, and now fans are live action Teen Titans show, and now fans are complaining about it being
too
adult.
Yeah.
So then we have a role reversal with DC.
Well,
but that's on their own streaming service.
Yeah.
So you can't really make a massive complaint because it's a limited audience.
They just don't like it. They'd rather Teen Titans be like the Teen Titans instead of.
But then don't make it live action. I mean, you've got the cartoons, you've got a cartoon movie, fine.
Yeah.
If you have another version that's more gritty.
That show's so early though, so we'll see by the end of it if it's any good. But there's so many superhero shows. While I was still watching it at the time, Flash and Arrow, the Arrowverse was fun. I heard Supergirl was fun, but overall, and you have DC Legends of Tomorrow or something like that. They're all fun time waster shows, but overall, the Marvel Netflix shows took it to another level.
Right.
Daredevil is still, bar none, as of right now, the best superhero show ever.
Well, actually, that's only our opinion because some people would argue that Jessica Jones is the best superhero show on Netflix, bar none. So, I do not subscribe to that.
Apples and oranges.
I honestly, I tried. I tried really hard to like Jessica Jones, and I will
watch the other two seasons.
I know you will,
because I like the actress. But we were fine with Jessica Jones the first season. It was entertaining. It just wasn't exciting.
I wasn't that fine with it. When I started hearing how much people loved it, I just didn't get it. They
liked different.
It's a slow burn, psychological thriller type show.
But in terms of action, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's not really right.
Luke Cage, we liked a lot better, and I heard Luke Cage season 2 was solid.
Never got around to it yet.
Iron Fist.
Never saw it.
You're not missing out on much. I highly recommend you guys watch our review of Iron Fist season 1. It's hilarious. But I heard Iron Fist season 2, at least the action sequences got a little better because they brought in a new team to do the fight scenes and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe if I'm bored one day, I'll watch it. I don't know. I'll try and give it a shot. But let's talk about the fucking Defenders that done fucked it up. Okay? The Defenders fucked everything up. Alright?
So Defenders could have been the Avengers of the Marvel Netflix.
But they fucked it up. Okay? Because it sucks. Alright? Who, what, when, why, where was Sigourney Weaver's character? Who was she? What was her past? We don't know. What was the point of her? We don't know.
You know what I didn't...
All we know was that she was powerful.
You know what I didn't like?
And that she ran shit.
I didn't like that... I know this is trivial, but the Madame Gao character...
Yes.
She's been around since the first season of Daredevil.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember what happened to her.
Her character...
She just kind of...
Did she die in the Defenders?
Well, here's what I didn't like about it was like her character was like this mysterious, entity that you knew. It's like she was old and frail, but you just knew not to fuck with her. No, you just knew
she could hold her own.
You knew that you needed to respect her, and you needed to just do what she said. And she was like kowtowing to Sigourney Weaver's character in Defenders. Like
it wasn't earned.
I was like. No, I love Sigourney Weaver, but unless you establish her, you can't have a character that's been around for all these other series and just be like, oh, no, I'm going to bow to her now. It's like, I don't know. I didn't like that at all.
What happened in season 1 where we introduced that Akuma-looking figure that fucking Stick was bowing to? What the fuck happened to that guy?
Yeah,
we didn't have time to bring that character back?
They dropped that.
What happened to that character? It was fucking Akuma.
Yeah.
Okay? And it just, the reason why I said they fucked it up was because in the end, everything felt like a big fucking waste of time.
Waste of time, yeah.
I felt like
there were moments in the Defenders where I was like, okay, I like that. That was okay. I was okay with a few things.
And I feel like Daredevil suffered the most for it because you had a major plot point with bringing back Elektra.
Yeah.
Wasted it on that piece of shit show. Yeah. And then you killed off
one of the best characters.
Yeah.
They killed off fucking Stick, and I was pissed.
And
I could not believe they wasted one of the best characters ever on that show.
Yeah, and
then he's dead. Bye.
And then
let's bring back Elektra. Oh, she's dead. Bye.
And then her and Matt
fucked it up.
Her and Matt have the reunion, and they, do their, they have their reunion, especially towards the end when Elektra kind of snaps out of it and kind of remembers everything. And that is a big lead-in to Daredevil season 3 for Matt, at least, because he's all fucked up at the beginning.
Yeah. Fine.
But it's like. Why did Daredevil of all the series have to suffer the most with taking away? And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, if you were interested in Elektra's subplot in Daredevil season 2, you're gonna have to watch this piece of shit show and sit through shit. Like, if you didn't care about Iron Fist, if you didn't care about Luke Cage or anything, sorry, but you got to sit through all this now if you want to find out what happened to Elektra.
And Elektra wasn't even the same fucking character in the Defenders.
Yeah.
She had a mind of a child. And then out of nowhere, for no reason, I want to take over everything, and I'm evil, and we must kill and take over everything and show dominance. What? Where the fuck did this come from? And then they just fucking killed her. I was like, dude, fuck this show. There were moments with Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, fine. Their interaction worked. It was fine. I know you liked Luke Cage and Iron Fist a little bit. Their interaction.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But when I fanboy out when I watch Marvel shit, when I watch DC shit, when it's cool shit, when it's badass cool shit, I'll fanboy out, okay? When I'm watching Iron Fist, the immortal Iron Fist, who's still fucking useless in this show, who just goes in there and his fucking fist doesn't work and he's screaming on a table where he's getting jumped by people in suits, office executives, and he's screaming on a table, come on! What are you doing, TV show? He's still fucking useless. He's still useless. So, when I'm watching Iron Fist, getting the immortal Iron Fist, get into a fight sequence with Daredevil, and I don't give a shit. You done fucked it up. I turned to her, and I was just like, I should be... Ah! And I'm sitting there just like, I don't care.
For those of you listening to this, I'm really sorry you couldn't witness what he just did.
The tantrum throwing.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too.
But yeah, wasted our time to the point where we didn't even want to return to the Marvel Netflix universe. It took us forever to come back and watch a series on Netflix because the Defenders fucked everything up. Killed off main characters for no reason. Gave us new characters that we didn't give a shit about, know anything about. They fucked it up. Now my Defenders rant is over. Now let's get on to Deadpool.
Do you have anything you'd like to add, Phat Ninja?
They made an attempt to draw all these storylines together.
Boo!
Them focusing most of the storyline on developing Iron Fist was a big mistake. But I'm not sure there was another viable way for them to really bring them all together. So the attempt was noted. It did not succeed. I enjoyed parts of it.
It had its moments. I agree with that.
Like them all meeting together in the restaurant and kind of having their first, kind of powwow all together. Interesting, cool. But, there's a lot of problems with Defenders.
Yes. So Phat Ninja agrees they fucked it up. All right, now to Deadpool 2. Sorry. Deadpool 2.
Holy shitballs.
Holy shitballs.
I'm tired.
I know. We're almost there, guys. Thanks for hanging with us.
I hope
you guys are sitting down, chilling, drinking.
Hey,
if you have this on in the background while you're at work, that's fine.
Yeah, in the
nothing
car.
else, we can lull you to sleep.
Maybe.
Driving in the car.
One of those kind of podcasts.
Don't fall asleep in your car, though.
No.
Fucking
pay attention.
Have it in the background.
That's not even... Nobody. I feel sorry for the people that get off to listening to us talk about nerd shit.
Nerdgasms.
Hey,
Jesus.
it's fun. It's
Oh.
fun. All right, so let's go ahead and end the video towards
So
talking about Deadpool 2.
Why did we not do a video? It was another one of those where
We had no time. Work.
didn't get
Work
around
in
to
life.
I think another reason I didn't want to just jump on and do a video, I had a hard time with this film. Loved the first one.
Yeah. Flawed, not perfect.
Again, I'm gonna go back.
But we enjoyed it a lot.
I'm gonna go back to my Ant-Man statement where I felt like there were parts of this movie that I absolutely loved, but the film as a whole kind of pissed me off.
When she gets to her theory of why her movie pisses her off, I want to hear what you have to say about that. Okay. Because he may feel differently.
I'm sure he will. No, I think I'm the only person that had this kind of an issue with the film. So I loved the beginning of the film. I loved the credit sequence, the Celine Dion. I thought that
really
whole
funny.
That whole deadpan delivery of it being a totally serious, sad song set to James Bond backgrounds. I thought that was really funny. I loved the credits with the holy shit, did they just kill her? She was like the best, like she was the character everybody loved from the first film. Like that was hilarious. I loved that.
Deadpool's Wade Wilson's fiance or girlfriend.
Yeah.
She dies.
I'm not really a Celine Dion fan.
I'm not. No.
That song is legit.
It is. And it was like, it was so sincere.
Yeah.
And it was played so straight. The song itself was.
And it's better than the fucking Sam Smith bullshit that we got in Spectre.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Directed by the man that shot John Wick's dog.
That shit was funny. I found that funny.
Yeah.
There were some, I thought the jokes were a 50-50 split. I still don't understand TJ Miller. I don't understand why people like him.
Yeah.
Why people think he was not funny in the first movie. He is not funny in this
Thankfully,
film.
we have less of him.
Yes, watching it again, yes.
Yeah.
I still love the violence. Not all of the Deadpool, fourth wall breaking. Not all of it's funny to me.
Yeah.
But I think comedy's always going to be a hit and miss. I loved Cable, obviously.
Brolin did great.
Yeah.
Again.
I enjoyed the X.
Even though he's a midget.
I enjoyed the X-Force assembly. That shit was hilarious.
Oh my God.
That shit was hilarious. The Juggernaut shit, hilarious. So I guess my biggest problem was, so the beginning of the film, Deadpool, you have this giant fight sequence set to 9 to 5, but then in the extended cut, it gets a little weird. The music starts breaking up, and you can talk more about the extended cut later as we go.
I'll talk about it a little bit.
So you got these montages of him killing all these bad guys and yada yada yada. Well, he gets home to his girlfriend Vanessa, and it's like their anniversary. And out of nowhere, they start talking about having kids and having a family. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of on board with the whole Wade Wilson still being sane to an extent because he's had this girlfriend around and they had this whole thing in the first movie. But is this really happening? I'm watching a Deadpool movie and they're talking about having kids and a family like normal, stable people. Like, he's not a crazy, psychopathic, fourth wall breaking killer. And you guys are having a serious conversation about having a family, which, okay, alright, I'm still trying to be on board. Just to do the whole manipulative bullshit where suddenly she gets shot because he pissed some people off and they hunt him down and they break into the apartment and she gets shot accidentally in the whole fight and all that. And so the only reason they had this whole conversation was because they were going to kill her off and they wanted to make it more sad, which I hate that shit. Like, I have such a problem.
Cliche.
It's cliche. It's manipulative. It's like, oh, so you mean to tell me that as a character, she wasn't important enough. It wasn't enough that we knew her from the first movie. And the credits said it. She was the favorite character that came out of that first movie. It wasn't enough that she died. That wasn't going to be sad enough. As an individual, no, we have to make it. They were going to have a family. that's what makes it sad. It's like, no, how about she was a good character, and it's sad that she died. Yeah. No, you didn't trust your audience enough, and you had to bring in that whole thing.
Right.
So that pissed me off. The whole Deadpool having a family thing. It's like, okay, well, that's weird, but I'm trying to be on board. But the reason that they did it was just to be manipulative. So they do all that. So what happens in the rest of the film is they pull the Wolverine, where Deadpool keeps having these flashes of seeing Vanessa, and he's trying to get through to her. Basically, it's like, because he's struggling with, does he keep going? Does he live? He tries to kill himself multiple times, and he can't kill himself.
Groundhog Day style.
Yeah. So he's trying to kill himself, and he can't do it. But every time he's on the verge of death, he sees her, and he's trying to get through to her, but there's like this invisible wall, and he can't. And she keeps saying, your heart's not in the right place. You can't come here. Your heart's not in the right place. Well, by the end of the film, you know, his heart's in the right place, and he decides he wants to live. But they have this moment. Like, they have these genuine, heartfelt moments together. And my view is like, okay, this is a Deadpool film. This type of serious, emotional, psychological subject matter, I don't think it fits in a Deadpool film. But if you're gonna do it, commit to it and do it. Don't undo everything for a throwaway gag in the end credit sequence. When he goes back and he steals Cable's time travel machine.
Yeah.
And he goes back. He kills the X-Men Origins Deadpool, which I thought was hilarious. Yeah. He does all this other shit, but one of the things he does is he saves her from getting shot. And so it's like, okay, so you did all of this psychological, emotional shit for nothing. That was my problem with the film. Is that was a big part of the film. If it had just been him dealing with her dying and then moving on somehow.
Right.
But then focusing on the Cable thing, because all that stuff I enjoyed. I enjoyed the Domino character. I enjoyed the whole...
X-Force.
I enjoyed all that. I loved Cable. I loved his whole subplot with the reason he was doing what he was doing, even though I hated the kid. I didn't like the kid.
Yeah.
I was fine with all that. But it's like, if you're going to go in a Deadpool film and commit to that...
Right.
And be it serious. They were being serious about it.
Right.
All of those scenes with him and Vanessa.
It wasn't a tongue-in-cheek.
No, that was dead serious. Like I said, the Wolverine stuff with Logan and Jean Grey. That was dead serious stuff.
So for the joke of a throwaway gag of him saving.
Yeah, it's like
you wasted our time.
It's either do it seriously or don't do it at all.
Right.
And it's like that pissed me off. It was like. So that was the reason
that was your pet peeve with the film.
That was my biggest pet peeve that almost kind of pissed me off with the film, and why I didn't really want to talk about it was because I enjoyed...
You felt like, well, you just wasted my time here.
I did. I feel like I enjoyed so much of the other aspects of the film. I wasn't sure why you were doing this psychological, emotional stuff, but if you were going to do it, okay, I'll go along with it, and then you just undo it, and it's like, why did you do that?
Right.
You wasted my time.
What do you think? What's your take on
I
it?
know.
I think...
Was it a waste of time?
I think I came into the movie not expecting it to be anything other than a comedy.
Okay.
So that throwaway gag of the death and all that stuff, it didn't bother me as much, probably. Mm-hmm. I do agree with like kind of a majority of the opinion on the internet with that. Vanessa dying... The way she did and then being out of the movie hurts the movie because she's a strong character in the first one, and finding a way to really have her in the movie would have been better for the movie, but comedic tone-wise, it would have taken on a different tone. Better or worse, who knows? But yeah, I would have liked to have seen more of her in the movie in general.
Instead of just sitting in the living room.
Right. As
showing her legs.
As a ghost figure until the very end. But because of my coming in with this is going to be a comedic movie, not really a full-on superhero movie, not really a full-on drama at all, it didn't bother me as much, probably.
I kind of get your side of it. Because you took us on this emotional journey with these emotional characters and the emotional scenes that you thought didn't belong in a Deadpool movie, and then at the end are like, oh, sorry, boop, it's all gone. So I kind of understand, but I'm kind of the same board with you. Like when I saw that scene, I laughed.
Yeah.
I was cracking up. I was like, oh, he saved her. Okay. So I didn't really think too much into it.
Yeah.
So both sides work.
No, I know I'm crazy. It's fine.
No, it's just expectations.
Well, some people had an issue with that with the first film.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we have this tragic story where he's dying.
Yeah.
And it's all serious and tragic and sad, and then all of a sudden, oh, Deadpool jokes, I'm fine.
Right.
So a lot of people, when he was dying, when he got the news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that wasn't the whole film. That was just like the first.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was just like the beginning for it.
Yeah.
There's
It wasn't the focus.
There's a fine line in entertainment where you want to be kind of real about things, but you also want to be entertaining.
Right.
And how do you present mourning or, some of these heavier concepts in an entertaining way? Who really knows how to do that? Like,
Right.
Is there a movie that's really done that successfully? I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head that's done it in an entertaining way. And, entertaining usually comes with comedy. Comedy usually doesn't go with mourning very well. So I don't know how you do that.
Right. I haven't seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral, so. Is that...
Different genre.
Well, that just got plucked the fuck out of me.
What's the movie Simon Pegg is in? Not Simon, the dude from Firefly. The guy from Firefly. They remade this movie. Was it 4 Weddings and a Funeral? The pilot from Firefly. Mm-hmm. He was in the original, and they did an American remake. And I thought he was at a funeral.
I don't know.
And it was supposed to be
I don't know.
hilarious.
No
Don't know.
idea.
Fine. Anyway,
But
action-wise,
wow.
this destroys the first film.
There's a lot more going on.
Yeah.
A lot more. The comedy that's in there, in some ways, tops the first one.
Yeah.
In some ways, with most movies, the first movie is like a good self-contained thing,
Right.
and then the sequel breaks out of the mold a little bit, for most movies anyway.
Yeah.
And this movie broke out of the mold a little bit. It's still kind of within formula, but broke out in enough ways to make it its own thing, I think. Highly entertaining for me. If you were to ask me, do I prefer the first one or the second one, I think for most movies that have been coming out these days, I like the first one. I enjoy the second one more.
Yeah. Your example was like the Shrek movies.
Yeah.
Overall, Shrek was better, but you were more entertained with Shrek 2.
Yeah,
And you said that with Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah. So my current reviews for Shrek 1 and 2, not including 3 and 4 and whatever else is out there, and Wreck-It Ralph 1 and Ralph Wrecks the Internet, my current reviews for those is like, I like the first one. They're better movies, Shrek 1 and Wreck-It Ralph 1. But the second ones I enjoy more as entertaining more, Shrek 2 and Wreck-It Ralph 2.
So I can kind of see that with Deadpool.
Yeah.
As an overall movie, Deadpool 1's better. But there's so much entertainment in the second one.
Yeah.
Man. Like,
As a movie.
Because I'm struggling. Like, I'm still back and forth. I still don't know if I like this movie better than the first.
Right.
It's weird. Because it's like half the movie I don't. And then the other half I do. It's very weird.
There are beats and jokes in the second one that I think top the first one.
Yeah.
But as a movie, just kind of as a story, a full story, the first one makes more sense as a story.
Right. Anything else?
The the cameos, the little throwaway cameo of Brad Pitt as Vanisher.
Oh, man.
Man, comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Peter character. Just great. Great comedy.
My jaw dropped in the theater when he gets all the X-Force team members together and they all job.
Yep.
They all die horrible deaths.
Jumping out of the plane.
On their way to the mission.
Yeah.
We were dying in
Yeah.
the theater.
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of the parts of the film I thought were hilarious, but as a film overall, I had issues with it. But there were some, like, scenes like that. It was just, I'll take more of that, please.
I would have liked to have seen their Shatterstar character do something. He did pretty much nothing.
Even though
all for comedy, but
even though supposedly he's good at everything.
Right.
That's what he said in the movie.
Yeah.
And then he just gets killed by helicopter propellers. Blades.
Like even if it was a throwaway, here's him back in Mojo World or wherever he comes from, wrecking people with his twin sword thing. Just a little throwaway shot of that would have been probably enough for me. Because I knew it was a comedy.
Some of the CGI was well done and some of it was a little iffy.
I don't know if I really had any complaints with the CG that I can think of.
Juggernaut, I liked the way he looked.
Yeah, he wasn't realistic, but again, this is a comedy for me.
His design was spot on, though.
Yeah.
He looked just like the character.
It's pretty comic accurate for the most part, with a blend of the X-Men, modern X-Men.
Colossus
movies.
is great again.
Yeah, Colossus.
His relationship
fantastic.
with Deadpool's great. The whole X-Men cameo of them hiding from Deadpool was hilarious.
And you didn't get this as much in the theatrical cut, but in the super duper extended whatever version.
Yeah, super duper cut.
You see a little bit more of the relationship between Negasonic and her girlfriend.
Yeah.
Which you barely got anything of in the theatrical.
And you also get to see Deadpool try to suck Colossus's dick.
Which I do not remember from the theatrical.
So let's talk a little bit about the super duper cut. So I just recently watched it, and I popped in the theatrical just to check some spots. There's good news and bad news with the super duper cut, guys, if you guys are interested in buying the Blu-ray. The good news is, in the super duper cut, there's a lot more action. A lot of the action sequences are extended. You have the Yakuza fight, where Deadpool, in the beginning, where Deadpool's like killing all these dudes, and it's filmed beautifully, and it's a long take, and he's cutting off limbs. People are hobbling away with no limbs, decapitations. It's beautiful. It's great. So, and there's a little bit more fighting, I believe, with Colossus versus Juggernaut at the end, just a little bit. But yeah, there's in terms of action, some of the scenes are extended, so that is awesome. However, for some strange reason, with some of these extended action sequences, they changed the music, which is very odd. And I wish they didn't do that, because that kind of fucking ruins some of the action sequences. So you have the 9 to 5 song that was playing in the beginning, where he was killing people in a strip club, killing people over here, and then he kills people in the Yakuza room. And then they cut to another song from the 80s for that whole entire Yakuza sequence. And then it goes back to 9 to 5.
It was an odd Enya song.
Is that what? Oh, I thought it was an 80s song.
It was a song from Enya.
Yeah, it was weird.
This new age song.
And then it goes back to 9 to 5.
That in a Deadpool film would have worked, except they were already in the middle of the 9 to 5 motif. So it was kind of like, okay.
It was so awesome seeing that whole scene in its entirety, but the music was weird. And then at the end, when you have, Cable, Domino, and Deadpool going to do the final run at Juggernaut, in the theatrical version, I'm not really a big fan of modern day hip hop. I like the old school stuff, but they have kind of like a hip hop score, and it works because they're running and they're trying to be badass. It's slow motion, and then they start fighting Juggernaut. And it's not really a lot of lyrics, which is probably why I like it. I liked it. But you have the hard-hitting bass works. And especially with Deadpool, so when they're running at Juggernaut, you have the hip-hop. But in the super-duper longer cut, they play Fly Like an Eagle. And I'm like, why are we playing that song? It's weird. And then the one that kind of bothers me the most is you have the big finale throwdown fight where you have Deadpool goes, big CGI fight coming up, and then Juggernaut fights Colossus, Domino fights the villains in the orphanage building, and then you have Deadpool and Cable fucking up a whole bunch of dudes in their little action sequence. Again, in the theatrical, it's this hard bass hip hop music which works and makes the Juggernaut Colossus fight intense, but in the super duper longer cut, all that music's taken out for some rockabilly. We're fighting dirty, fighting dirty, and gotta go fighting dirty. Oh, I'm only fighting dirty. We're fighting dirty, fighting dirty. We're fighting dirty. And I'm just like, you're kind of ruining the scene. Like if I saw that scene first, I would have been fine. And that's how it was shot. Okay, that's the music they used. because it's a comedy. But I'm like, I kind of like the base. So while Cable and Deadpool was fucking up all these dudes over here with all this blood and gore, fun dirty, fun dirty, fun dirty, fun dirty, go fun dirty, fun dirty, fun dirty, fun dirty, fun dirty.
Okay, again, people who are listening to this, I'm very sorry that you weren't able to visually experience all of that. Maybe one day.
We'll look into having an MP3 version of Fighting Dirty by Phat Samurai, available for download on iTunes.
Including a visual, like a video to go along with it.
Yeah, so it's super duper longer cut. It's good and bad. So it's got whatever. Good positives and negatives, just like the film. Anything else we need to say about Deadpool 2? Overall, I think all three of us enjoyed it. We were entertained. Where can they go for the third movie, though? Is it just completely bonkers now? Fuck it, he's got a time machine.
Well,
he went back to kill baby Hitler. We can do where the fuck we want now. Fuck it. We don't have to follow rules, which I guess was the purpose of a Deadpool movie.
Yeah. I think it was the trailers where they're talking about you stop at 2, you killed it. Don't go for the third one.
Oh.
And then with the whole Disney coming in, who knows what happens to that. And even Ryan Reynolds is like, Deadpool as a character is best when he's kind of lost everything. He's kind of got everything again. Are they going to take it all away again? What are they going to do with this character? If they make an X-Force movie, like a full-on movie, I think that makes some sense. But how they fold that into the bigger MCU, I don't know. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. What? We're going to have one of the Skrulls turn into Wolverine. And Hugh Jackman come back just to fight Deadpool. There you go. Even though it's not Wolverine, it's a Skrull.
For people who are not as familiar with all of Hugh Jackman's work, The Greatest Showman I enjoyed quite a bit. Many people did not. A lot of people still like it for the music, whatever. It's worth seeing. But the one movie I can recommend highly out of his filmography, The Prestige.
Yes, one of the most underrated movies.
Please see this movie. It's well deserving. It's a Nolan film.
It's an underrated Nolan film.
It's got Christopher Bale in it. It's got Scarlett Johansson in it. There's a lot of great things.
David Bowie's in it.
Yeah, David Bowie, before his death, I think that was his last role ever. I want to say that was. But anyway, worth seeing. Please go check that out.
Prisoners was also good too. Him in that.
Do we want to mention that trailer that we just saw?
Any last thoughts on Deadpool 2? Fun little redemption story. He redeems himself to try to save the kid from growing up, murdering Cable's family. That's basically the gist of the film. Because if you think about the first Deadpool movie, he was just trying to save his girl and save himself.
Yeah.
This one, he was actually trying to do something for somebody else. Like, that was the point of the film. So that was fine. Yes, the surprise of the day. So right after we were excited more for the next Avengers movie, Endgame, coming up, but not really excited for the teaser, we sat down and was browsing YouTube, and we were like, what is this? What is this trailer? James Gunn's involved? What is this? What's the name of the movie?
Brightburn.
Brightburn. And holy shit, were we just like, fuck it, we blew it, and we should have did a fucking reaction video to this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically evil Superman.
Yeah. So, spoilers for those who haven't seen this trailer.
Yeah.
But, dark take on basically Superman. I mean, if you watch that trailer, they're aping stuff directly from Superman. Probably Man of Steel, but probably all the other versions of Superman out there. Husband and wife want to have kids, can't have kids. Meteor comes in, there's a baby in it. Pick up the baby. He grows up. He's got powers. But it's not what you expect.
And they kind of advertise it as a horror movie.
Yeah.
We don't know how far that envelope gets pushed.
It starts off kind of nice family, and then it starts to get darker in this trailer. So, really cool, very cool.
It looks
way it's
amazing.
Done. Yeah.
And we were pleasantly surprised by that one. That's what I'm fucking talking about.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Brightburn.
Brightburn. As of right now, we're more excited for Brightburn than Avengers Endgame. in terms of trailers.
Of trailers that have been released as of this time.
Yes. Anything else before we end the podcast?
I need to go to bed.
You need to go to bed.
Yeah.
I guess so. So I'd like to thank all you guys for chilling and hanging with us and listening to our podcast. Are you still alive out there? Don't forget, peach trees, apartment complexes. Make sure make sure you guys check that out. It's our shout out to our sponsor of the day, Peach Trees Apartments. That's right. Anything else you have to say, Phat Ninja, before we roll out?
A great view of Mega City 1 at Peachtree, so please check it out.
Where the police officers are always friendly and always on staff. And they care.
They care.
Mama loves you.
Eat recycled food. Oh! Is anyone going to get that fucking reference? If you guys heard that, I want to know in the comments below, what movie is that from? Eat recycled food. That's right. As always, thanks again for hanging with us. You guys fucking rock. And we'll see you guys in future movie reviews, videos, vlogs, reaction vids, and future podcasts. Thank you for hanging out and listening to Verbal Nectar. And we see you guys next time. Fighting dirty! Fighting dirty! Fighting dirty! Fighting dirty!